Headlines. Presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
The Boston Red Sox have acquired veteran righty Sonny Gray from the St. Louis Cardinals. Gray had a full no-trade clause and waived it to come here to Boston, so that's promising. The Cards get pitchers Richard Fitz and Brandon Clark in return. The two teams moved some money around as well. Patriots roster moves. Tackle Thayer Munford has been signed to the active roster. Guard Bill Murray to the practice squad. Not that Bill Murray. Cornerback Alex Austin moves to the IR. Your Boston Bruins are in New York tonight facing off against the Islanders. Pregame at 6:30. Puck drop at 7 here on 98.5 The Sports Hub and the Sports Hub app if you're traveling for the holiday. Back here in Boston, the Celtics host the Detroit Pistons at the Garden tonight. It's Game 4 of Group Play for the NBA Cup. Pregame with Grandy and Max at 4:30. Tip-off at 5 over on 105.7 WROR. This year's Thanksgiving high school football rivalry games got underway at Fenway Park last night. My hometown Wakefield Warriors waxed the Melrose Red Hawks 20-9. It's a triple header at Fenway today with Newton North and Brookline at 1:30, Plymouth South and Plymouth North taking the field at 4, followed by Lexington and Concord Carlisle at 6:30. Sports Hub headlines brought to you by Boston Vision. Boston Vision helped Boston baseball legend David Ortiz get back to seeing 20/20 again. They can do the same for you. See like Big Papi. Book your free evaluation at bostonvision.com. My name is Adam 12 on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Another update in about 30 minutes.
Ladies and gentlemen, I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Toucher.
You might hate me, but you're listening.
And Hardy.
Don't bother me. I'm at the Pickle Palace.
On 98.5.
I know what I'm capable of.
He said something about peanut butter, right?
Yeah. Boning, baby. Make America nut again.
That's gross. That's disgusting.
Let's talk about cheese.
What are you going to have for lunch?
I was at dinner with my wife and a friend.
Kitty, kitty, pussy, kitty, kitty, kitty. Flap, flap, flap.
Shut up, I'm trying to talk to Paul.
Toucher and Hardy.
Good luck trying to put your finger in it when there's a million holes.
On 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Let's go.
It's just something that travels with me, yes.
What are you talking about?
Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning. We are Toucher and Hardy at Town Fair Tire Studios, 617-779-0985. You can watch us on YouTube. Subscribe to 98.5 The Sports Hub on YouTube. Do yourself a big favor and go ahead and do that. We have no John today. It's been very sad. Very, very sad. No John. John took the day off as is his wont to do nothing. And that's John's kind of his modus operandi. He will take a day off. I mean, I've been ridiculed for taking a day off, but agree or disagree, there was something going on. I had to, the day that I'm referring to is the day where I took my, it both involved my son. It was one where I took my son to the airport at like, he had to be there at like 4:30 in the morning. And I was like, I don't want to do the show after that, which was controversial, but I will contend it's better than nothing. And then the other one was, I guess, at the time I decided to take the day off. But nonetheless,
there was some reason to it. There was some sort of schedule, something going on, and it inspired the day off or resulted in a day off. John, this was planned weeks ahead of time with this day off before Thanksgiving that he's not traveling for. He's just taking the Wednesday before Thanksgiving to do presumably not a thing.
Now, you get 5 weeks vacation or 4 weeks vacation? I think you get 5.
No, I think I'm at 4.
Am I at 5 or 4? I think I'm at 5. I don't know. But John's at 4. Regardless, I must be at 5. But John's at 4. And the thing is that, you figure that he went to Europe.
Yeah.
And that's a large chunk of it. His planning is all off, and he's taking 2 weeks at Christmas. So that's almost all of his vacation between the Europe trip to see his sister in Christmas at the in-laws.
Yeah.
So he's not dealing with like a lot of time here.
No. And now that I think about it, I must have 5 because otherwise I wouldn't have agreed to do that cruise in January.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to have to burn, even with comp days, I'm going to have to burn at least 3 vacation days to do that.
Yeah, I'm thinking that you definitely have 5 vacation days. I mean, you. There's no way that you don't have more than John. John is such an unnecessary employee.
Which, by the way, by no changing of my own, I've essentially been employed by the same people, right? Going back, starting in May of next year, right? Now, the company has changed hands many times, but I have not been, removed from one company and then had to be hired by another. Only the company has changed hands. In May, it will be 30 years.
Wow.
So I should have accrued that much vacation time by now. That's when I started with CBS. It was in 98. 98 is when I started.
But you're coming up to 28 years.
It's 28 years, yeah. So I should have built up that much vacation time by now.
I got screwed. I had to leave and come back. So
yeah, you did.
Well, I mean, did you get screwed, or have you been able to survive the destruction of so many stations that you were on?
That is the better description of that. I'm by no means. I am grateful to continue to work in this field, especially given the environment what it is. But
that's when Chachi used to bitch about not being a multimillionaire. If you don't know the story, okay, so if you worked WBCN, which Hardy and I both worked for, and Adam all worked for, we all worked for. Nick was an intern there. Ann worked there. I would imagine Nick was on payroll there. So 4 of the 5 of us that are here today worked for WBCN. And that was owned by CBS Radio, but before that, these guys all hit the lottery because if you decide, it was employee owned, and so was Susquehanna, so was where I worked at 99X. So when I was like 29, I got like a $250,000 check because I had ESOP, employee stock options, and the company got sold. And when I was 29, I got like $250,000 for doing nothing. And that was tremendous. Well, if you worked at WBCN like back in the 70s, sure, you had to take short money on these contracts because as much as the radio business is whatever, people didn't make any money in the 70s. People didn't make any money really until the 90s. So, and even like Don Imus, and I know that there's been inflation and stuff, but I saw something about Don Imus when he got nationally syndicated, he was making like $3 million. So that's a lot of money, but it's not like Stern money, who's making like $250 million a year or something like that. So whatever. So, but what they did get is employee stock options, and the company kept selling and selling and selling and selling. Now, the story is that Mark Parento, R.I.P. to Mark.
It's nice.
Yeah.
It's nice to say that. Good.
You know, he used to come by the studio. Oh, boy. He used to come by my office. Thank God him and the cop I was friends with never crossed paths. And Mark Parento, who was a convicted pedophile, he did not take the stock options. So he took cash. So he got like, let's say $20,000 in cash. Like 1 year. He just decided that, who wants these stock options? I'll take the 20 grand. You know, do whatever people did back then with the money. And Laquadera didn't take the stock. Didn't take the money and kept the stock options. And when the company kept selling and selling and selling and selling, it's all told. The story is that he made, millions and millions of dollars. And Chachi, who was essentially an intern, he was someone who appeared in photos, would grouse about not being, Laquadera's out there in Hawaii and I'm stuck here working. Ooh. I don't like this. And you'd say, Chachi. Charles Laquadera was the morning show host and most popular personality on the station for decades. And I don't know what you did except getting pictures with the Jay Giles band. Certainly, if there was a large group photo, you were in it. But really, and I love Chachi. Chachi has no time for me anymore. But I talked to Chachi every day. I hung out in his office every day. I like Chachi very much.
It's always great at Christmas time. He would have the video of his appearance in the Tony Bennett Christmas special.
Well, so
I played his son. That's me. I played his son.
Yeah, he would have a TV. He had a TV in the corner with a VHS tape in it. And he'd come into his office and slyly it would be on and be like, oh, no, look at what's on TV. Me and the Tony Bennett Christmas special, we were buddies.
Yeah, it was either that or one of the Dean Martin celebrity roasts, which he had all of. He had all the copies.
Yeah, he also Barney Miller. No, yeah, he would watch. Yeah, he would watch random crap on his television, which speaks of a guy very integral to the success of a company. Is the ability to have TV from the '60s on at all times. Not to be confused with the gentleman that worked in Dorchester that would watch. He found a network that had TV shows that you were like, my God. One Day at a Time is on it. Chachi was watching tapes. This guy in Dorchester, you'd go down into the kitchen.
Sure.
And he'd be like sitting there watching One Day at a Time on TV.
Yeah. Yeah, Too Close for Comfort channel. That's just re-racked. When the season would finish, they'd start the next one. They got to the end, they'd start again with the pilot.
And I would sit there enthralled. How did you find these shows on television? And he'd be like, I know what's going on.
Yeah.
And then he'd tell me whose birthday it was. And then I get very excited.
Yeah.
He'd have you guess how old they were.
Did he ever say to you what TV celebrity you reminded him of?
If he did, I don't remember. It was probably Brian Posehn or something that was a disgusting looking guy.
All I remember is that Billy Lanny finally came to the end of his patience. Something to the effect of, I don't care if everyone likes him. If he calls me Kevin James one more time, I'm going to beat the bleep out of him.
Billy Lanny's kind of got to just deal with that. I don't know if...
But if there's someone that you barely know who just says that to you?
Yeah, but, if it was like you or Adam or, someone like in sales, I'd be like, yeah, but, you kind of got to go, okay,
yeah,
maybe. This is a guy watching 8 is enough at, 11 o'clock in the morning on a Monday. Maybe I'll let it slide,
Was 8 is enough an hour long?
Uh-huh.
Oh.
I've never seen an episode of 8 is Enough.
I remember the theme song, but I never watched it. 8 is enough to fill our lives with love.
I do know that song too, but I've never seen the show. I do know that there was a mop top haired boy and a young Willie Ames before Zapped. We call that BZ.
Willie Ames BZ.
BZ. That was when the Laurel and Hardy of the 80s, Willie Ames and Scott Baio, would do many film projects and Charles in Charge, which was greenlit and made.
Those two had something going.
They said, you know what we need is a starring vehicle with Scott Baio. Throw Willie Ames in there and let's unleash it on the people.
Did they ever like stop to consider when they went with another Scott Baio vehicle, Joni Loves Chachi, that maybe the female lead is not someone that audiences are going to fall in love with physically? Did that ever stop them in their tracks?
Joni it's funny because I've seen pictures of her, like they keep showing like Jump the Shark episode and they keep showing, because like with Instagram, there's all these videos just of everything, right? And I'm like everyone else addicted to it. Moran there, when she was like a young adult, she didn't have a bad body. She had a pretty good body. She wasn't a tremendous actress, but she had a pretty good body on her when Joni Loves Chachi was on. It's not as bad as you remember. Now, you might not like it because you thought that you didn't like that Marion Ross, Mrs. Cunningham, was dolled up all the time.
I didn't care for that. You're right. The whole, put together constantly.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, dress it down a little bit there,
yeah.
Miriam.
If there was a beach scene and she had a nice one piece on with maybe some frills, just to cover everything up a little bit more. Like a fat kid wearing a T-shirt in the pool. You were all for that.
So Laquadera kept his stock options. And this is my understanding. I have no idea if it's true, but this story I've always been told, and this is the one that I cling to, bought property in Maui and ended up selling off a portion of his property to Oprah.
That's the story that I've heard as well.
I believe that's true, and because he was Oprah's neighbor.
Yeah, they were neighbors, and
she wanted a big spread, a compound. And he said,
"Oh, don't no, with the way chokes these. I thought these went away in the '80s."
Sorry, and she started knocking on neighbors' doors, and he said, "Absolutely, I'll sell to you." And I assume at a very, very good price for the seller.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
and that's a guy who, in all respect to him, self-described at one time retired in his 30s so he could just go do cocaine in New Hampshire.
Quit his radio show so that he could go. That was his plan. I'm done.
Yeah, he had enough money,
drugs.
which wasn't a lot. Like he had like, let's say he had like $25,000 like in 1979. He went and which I think it probably was. It was certainly wasn't hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah,
I think it was under $100,000 that he had. And he said, I'm going to just go buy a place in New Hampshire and do cocaine.
Yeah.
And he was in his 30s.
Yeah. And he did.
And he did. And he did it for like a year and a half. And then they begged him to come back. And he came back. And then, he was able to get like another 20 years out of his career.
It's a good contract negotiation move there for the 1970s.
Talent, my friend.
Get away with that today.
Talent, my friend. I mean, if someone left the radio, even today, if you left the radio station and the radio station fell apart, they'd ask you to come back.
Yep.
They'd be willing to deal with a lot. Desperation will do a lot of things. Now, it would be an interesting negotiation, but they would certainly want you back. Believe me.
Yeah.
I would say that's the case. But yeah, he just Maddie kind of did the same thing too. When Maddie's told me this, like when Maddie was I was at BCN before he went to Kiss, he went out to LA under the guise of acting, but it was really just to go out there and do cocaine. Like these guys loved cocaine, and the job was they just got in the way of the cocaine.
Yeah.
Like
as it tends to do.
Right.
Hardy could speak on that just a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is that you always have the fantasy like, well, if I wasn't saddled with having to get up in the morning, I could just party all the time. I mean, everyone's had that fantasy. Like, if I, how much do I really need this? I could just go and, I mean, now your life would be awful and it would be ruined. And both of those guys found out quickly that this wasn't the way to go. But that does cross your mind. I mean, listen to Stern with Artie before he stabbed himself. I mean, it's just a series of excuses. It's interesting listening back to it because it's just someone just making every excuse under the sun that they just want to do heroin and don't want to come in and do the show.
I fell down a rabbit hole with those a couple of months ago, just like leaning hard into the Artie era, but the like broken Artie era on that show, and a lot of that's tough to listen to.
Well, yeah, and it's just him basically making it's not excuses to the show, just excuses to himself about I need to take a year off and just like basically go to a monastery is one thing, and it's like, no, you want to take a year off so you can just do heroin. You don't have to bother
show up to work at 5 a.m.
Yeah, you don't have to bother calling in sick anymore. Like it's just it's an instinct. But you in your mind, I don't even think if you put him on a lie detector, he wouldn't be lying. In his mind is just trying to create any kind of scenario where it justifies not coming into work and justifies not working anymore. And I'm sure when you're doing stand-up and making millions of dollars a year doing stand-up that it's a lot easier to crunch the numbers and go,
sure,
how much do I really need to do this?
You can make it work in your head.
Yeah, you can make pretty much any. I mean, you can convince yourself to buy a house in New Hampshire in your 30s to go do cocaine.
Especially for Artie in that era, he was making $80,000 for like in a weekend, sometimes more than that, depending on where he was going.
Yeah, but the thing is,
stand-up gigs.
What's always weird about that Stern job, and I don't think that people understand, is that Jackie and Artie, according to what I've heard and sort of know, we're not making a lot of money doing the radio show, like making a 20th of what Stern made.
Yeah.
But the way it was sold to them is you can go and do these gigs.
Yeah.
But then you're going out and spending a weekend doing gigs and then flying back to New York and having to get up in the morning and like do a radio show. And you're thinking, what the hell's the point? I'm doing all of this just to promote my gigs. Like my craft is my comedy. Like, why should I be in here? Like, I guess except for Fred, Robin, and Gary, like that. There's really no money. Like I think Sal makes under $100,000 a year. Like there's no money. Like there's no money to be paid there. So if Artie was a star, you know, he's doing Conan O'Brien. He's doing like late night shows, like on his own volition. Like it's not just because he was on Stern. I think it's pretty easy. People crap on Jackie for leaving that show, but you can entirely understand why he left that show, because he was in a contract negotiation. He's like, this guy's making, say, back then $20 million a year, and they want to pay me $700,000. And, you know, we're on in every market, this show's making, you know, $20 million a year.
Almost every market.
How about we're just number one in Philadelphia, New York, and LA? Yeah. Like, I mean, you know, Mark and Brian in LA are making like, you know, $2 million a piece. I know that the two guys in Detroit, before the guys that you know worked there, were making, I think, $3 million a piece. Drew Lane and the other guy were making a tremendous amount of money because they beat Stern. And that was the way locally to make millions and millions of dollars. And so, yeah, if you're like Drew and Mike in LA or in Detroit are making $3 million a year and I'm making under $1 million, like what the hell is going on here? I mean, I can see how you would get resentful. I don't think Stuttering John made any money either, which is why he was able to be poached. All right, well, there you go. It's tomorrow's Thanksgiving, and everyone doesn't want to be here. And we have 3 in-studio guests today.
That's how we do it.
So we've loaded them all up.
That's right.
We have Bert Breer, then Forsberg to talk about the Red Hot Celtics, which is on the top of everyone's mind. And then Phil Perry to finish things out in the 9 o'clock hour to talk about the Patriots. And he can talk as much as he wants. The floor is his. He doesn't even need a question.
No.
He can just come in here with a stack of information and recite it. Because, after all, this is not a day that any effort should have to be put in. And then we're putting the ball in other people's courts starting in 38 minutes.
I kind of like it. You know, other than retail, and, you know, that sucks, but you have plenty of other time during the year when you can, you know, kind of coast. But other than retail, there's kind of this unspoken thing among people. No one's really working this week. I mean, can we all agree on that? And yeah, I think so. That's you know that's across the board.
Yeah.
Some freeway traffic today. No regular road traffic.
Oh.
Like Route 9, I was the only car on Route 9. Then when I got on 95, there was, I would imagine it's a lot of people traveling for the holiday, but surface streets.
Nice.
Empty.
Nice.
Yeah. So people are on the same page. Driving like 8 hours to Lancaster, Pennsylvania or something like that, which my daughter's friend is. And I went, oh, my God. You want to talk about a nightmare. To sit at some family member's house? 8 hours to Amish country.
LBF's going to New Jersey on Thanksgiving Day. I said, at least you got the travel day right. You know, that makes sense. That I understand and appreciate.
John must be jealous where she's going.
But leaving like Thanksgiving morning to get there.
Yeah.
I said, ooh, that's a long drive. All right, have fun.
Oh, she's driving to New Jersey?
Driving on Thanksgiving.
She doesn't like to fly, I take it.
I don't know. She didn't like to drive on the highway, so my guess is she didn't like to fly either.
Maybe they'll take surface streets all the way to New Jersey.
Only take 11 hours.
11 hours. Try 24 hours. All right, we'll be back.
More.
night.
Just a heads up, John's not here. We are Toucher and Hardy, brought to you by Leonard Hair Transplant Associates, where your hair doesn't have to be a game of what happens. So change your lettuce and change your life with Dr. Matthew Lepresti at 1-800-GET-HAIR. Hardy, what's going down in the streets, my friend?
Well, the news broke yesterday on, this must have been the midday show.
Correct.
All right, I believe so. McTakey filling in for somebody yesterday. Matt McCarthy breaking this news.
First move of the offseason for the Boston Red Sox. This according to John Heyman on Twitter. Sonny Gray traded to the Red Sox, right-hander from the Cincinnati Reds. Traded to the Red Sox just a few minutes ago.
Can I say whoop-de-freaking-do on that one?
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. Easy.
I know a lot about Sonny Gray as I am a Cardinal fan. Sonny Gray... and I've gone over this in my mind as I am at this point in my career, Hardy.
Yes.
So I will answer the comments as I go through in my own head. I saw Sonny Gray pitch in spring training this year. He was throwing 88.
Okay.
His fastball was 88 miles an hour.
Okay.
89, 88.
So he's lost a tick or two.
No, it wasn't, Fred. Okay. I was there. And the radar gun in the stadium, and it was spring training, and it was his last start of spring training because he's the open day starter for the Cardinals. And
all right, velocity down.
But to that point, I think I read something that his fastball, which he only throws like 20% of the time, yes, 585 slugging percentage against his fastball opponents last season.
Okay.
Now he's good; he barely throws a fastball. But I just want to get this out of the way. He was throwing 88, 89. No, he wasn't. Yes. My son, in theory, throws as hard as Sonny Gray. At least in that, and my son's left-handed, if you're out there. But, so 88, 89 he was throwing.
So
no, he wasn't. Yes, he was. Now, it was spring training, but it was the last spring training start. So I would imagine he was going fairly all out, because his next start was going to be opening day.
Oh.
And they kept him in, 4 or 5 innings. Like, he pitched a while. Now, he doesn't throw balls. He he throws a lot of ground balls. He strikes guys out. He's more of a technician. He's very durable. And I guess that comes from not throwing very hard. He's very durable. And what they gave up in exchange for them is not little. Now Sonny Gray is going to be the number 2 starter. He'll be a decent number 2 starter. Now, it's not like they got Ryan from Minnesota and, it's some like blockbuster kid that is going to pitch forever. This is a rental. This is a contract that will be bought out after the year. And in exchange for him, they gave up a kid that will at least start the beginning of the season as a mid-rotation starter for the Cardinals, and a lottery ticket kid who is believed to have a tremendous upside, but has been injured. But he's very young. So those are the main players in this thing. The Cardinals are eating half the salary, and it's a mutual buyout, a mutual option at the end of this season, which are something like 99% of the time, if not 100% of the time, bought out. And then you go from there. So there's I believe, a $10 million buyout. So the whole thing ends up being $41 million. The Cardinals are floating $20 million of that. If my numbers are off by a little bit, I apologize, but you get the idea. There's cash considerations up to $20 million that the Cardinals are paying. I don't know why Bertrand hates it so much. I guess it's because it's not Joe Ryan.
No, I think because the Red Sox themselves said that among their priorities in the offseason was getting a legitimate number 2. And you just said he's fine as a number 2. I think he's fine as a number 3 based on the way he's trending and the season he had last year and the number of home runs he gave up, which is presumably will only increase if he's pitching half his games at Fenway Park.
No, because the power to right field against him is very low. And he does it he metrically looks like someone who would pitch very well at Fenway Park, if you can believe that.
What about to left?
I mean, to left. His fly ball rate to left.
I'm not worried about right field.
No, I'm sorry. His fly ball rate to left field is not terrible.
Okay. But do you really feel like this is if just a team in general who had the Red Sox rotation, you got Crochet and you're set the way you are at the very top, and you need a number two. If you were to say Sonny Gray is your number two, is that going to satisfy the fan base?
For 1 year, Sonny Gray, he pitches a playoff game for you. So yeah, I don't think it's a bad move. I think it's pretty good. He's an opening day starter. He would have been the opening day starter for the Cardinals. He doesn't get injured. So you look like you got a guy. You're not going to have to worry about him at like down the stretch. Like he'll be, if he plays to form, it's not going to be a guy that you're like, wow, he's running out of steam. I mean, he's more of a technician. He's a veteran. He seems like a fairly ideal number two starter. Now, it's not a crazy ass double up rotation where no one's going to be able to hit you, and it's not, Verlander, Scherzer or something, and they didn't even win a World Series. But Verlander, Scherzer, it's not something that's like insane. But over the course of a season and into a postseason, Sonny Gray is your number two starter is not the worst thing in the world. And then just by having him as your number two starter, you're backing out the rotation, and therefore you're going to be a much more formidable regular season team, I would suppose. And and I would be comfortable him starting a game two for me in the playoffs. I wouldn't have any problem with that. There's 30 teams in Major League Baseball, and you got one of the opening day starters. And you gave up a little bit for him, but these pieces that you gave up weren't going to do anything for you this year. So I will say this, they're trading for now. So this is a move that isn't a future move. This is a move entirely for this next season.
Oh, yeah. You don't get a 36-year-old who is trending in the wrong direction. And look, I don't think he's bad. I just don't know that people are going to say, all right, now we got 1-2 ready to go, set him up, knock him down. Everyone's going to be satisfied with that. I think they wanted the Red Sox specifically, especially that team, to set their sights a little higher than Sonny Gray as their number two.
But that to me would be more of a long-term thing. First of all, the reality is that they have a budget. If that's fair or not, it's not for, I don't know, but it's just a reality. And this allows them to, what everyone thinks is they made this trade because they want to invest the most amount of the money off season on bats or on a bat. And I hope for the sake of the fans, it's not Pete Alonso, because that's not someone I would want. But, there's some people available. I mean, they're not going to get Kyle Tucker. They're not going to get an outfielder. But they'll get a corner infielder, and they should get one of the big ones. It takes it out of the way. You're not in a bidding war. You're for sure got the guy in. There's a lot to be said with why they did it now. And again, as a Cardinal fan, it appears, and I never had heard these guys before, from what I've read, it appears that one of these guys is going to pitch in the major leagues, but he wasn't going to pitch for the Red Sox. Mm-hmm. So it's two teams in different directions. Mm-hmm. And this is kind of an all-in move for this season. Now, not financially, but you're getting a guy and you're saying, we want to win in 2026. This is a guy who is really just for 2026, and we were comfortable giving up two pretty big arms for him. And I guess I get it from Red Sox fans, because Red Sox fans want them to get 85 Doc Gooden to do everything. But as things go, look, if it takes Ryan off the table this year, it would have been much better to get Ryan. But for this season, Sonny Gray, I think, is a perfectly acceptable number two starter.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about tomorrow's slate of games, specifically Joe Burrow, as he gets ready, presumably, to face the Ravens in Baltimore. He was asked about his Thanksgiving football memories.
I think just like a lot of kids, you grow up going through Thanksgiving, you have your meals with your family, and then you go and sit on the couch, and typically there's not a lot on, except football. Back in the day, it was Lions and somebody. You go watch Matthew Stafford throw for 300, 400 some yards with Calvin Johnson and probably lose the game, but it was fun to watch.
Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just described being a Lions fan for a good chunk of years. That's what it was. You're gonna watch them on Thanksgiving. If you didn't have access to any other NFL package, that was one of the 2 times a year you were guaranteed to watch them if you were living outside of Detroit. And you'd get some great highlights, and they would lose the game.
There was on my YouTube, there was a game from 1978. It was the Lions versus, it doesn't matter because I'm only going to make a point about the Lions. So I lived in Detroit in 1978. I was too little, obviously, to know what the hell was going on. I was 3 years old. But the offense had one guy, including quarterback, and this is 78, so they're running 2 running backs out there. It had one guy I'd heard of, and that was Freddie Scott. I'd never heard of the quarterback in my entire life. Never heard the name. Never in my life heard the name of the quarterback. A little white guy. I don't recall him ever hearing his name ever. And lived in Detroit for over the course of 22 years off and on. And never had heard this guy's name in my entire life. Freddie Scott is the only guy. And Freddie Scott I only remember because his kid played at my high school. Penn State kid, Freddie Scott. A cup of coffee with the Lions. It was Freddie Scott Jr. But Freddie Scott, the Lions were truly awful. But then every year you would hear people bitch, including here. Hey, why do the Lions get the Thanksgiving game? Shut up.
I'm looking at the 78 roster right now. That team was a wagon. You had Gary Danielson.
No, then 79 maybe.
All right, because
Gary Danielson, I know.
Dexter Bussey.
Okay, I've never heard of Dexter Bussey.
Horace King.
Okay, I've never heard of Horace King.
Those were your running backs. You mentioned Freddie Doc Scott.
Okay, so that might be the team, but Ferguson might have been hurt. That might have been who was the backup quarterback? Can you see?
Greg Landry.
Yeah, that was the team.
Okay,
it was 78.
Yeah. Doug English.
Okay, so you're being sarcastic. I thought you were being serious.
Doug English on the defensive line.
Yeah, I don't remember any of these guys. They didn't even give drawings of those guys away at the gas station. If you recall those, you'd go to the gas station, you would get a nice drawing of a Detroit Lion.
What about Burrow and actually playing, Joe?
I'm a football player, and if I get hurt, I'm going to go through the rehab process, and then I'm going to let everybody know when I feel like I can go out there and play. I'm not going to ever go to somebody and say, yeah, I'm healthy, but I don't think I should go out there and play. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I'm not going to live my life and play this game scared of something happening.
Unless it's against the Patriots, where you don't throw that pick six.
Correct. So there you go.
I guarantee you, not many quarterbacks make that throw that Flacco made. There's a few in the league, but not a lot that make that Marcus Jones pick six.
Oh, the
where he just blindly threw to an outlet that I saw watching on television.
How about this? Not many quarterbacks in the league that make it as consistently as Flacco makes it.
Because
he loves it.
He loves throwing interceptions across the line of scrimmage.
He loves not doing a great job of moving defenders away from where he's really going to throw it, and everyone knows he's going to throw it there.
Well, just these parallel throws that he throws that are pick sixes. I've seen him do it several times.
Not a lot of zip on him.
All right, and he's got a hell of an arm.
Yeah.
He didn't really throw that one. All right, we'll be back in just a moment. What else happened last night?
We
got to.
Oh, you're saying with what else happened last night?
That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, because I was going to tell you. I'm going to tell you. We'll just do it.
We'll just do it.
Yeah.
Don't even. You just hang on and wait.
Hey, happy Turkey Day, everybody.
Hey, everybody.
That's
Safe
really,
travels. It's a little wet out there.
That's more than anything.
It's dark and wet. You know what I'm saying?
What?
Yeah, Cherry Company. All right, here are the headlines.
Essential Sports Hub headlines.
The active roster from the Browns practice squad. Guard Bill Murray signed to the Pats practice squad to make room for Munford. Cornerback Alex Austin placed on the IR. Red Sox roster moves. The team traded for St. Louis starter Sonny Gray. In return, the Sox sent pitcher Richard Fitz and prospect Brandon Clark to to the Cardinals. Celtics at the Garden tonight, hosting the Pistons. Pregame at 4:30, tip-off at 5 over on 105.7 WROR. Bruins in New York tonight, facing off against the Islanders. Pregame at 6:30, puck drop at 7. Here on 98.5 The Sports Hub and the Sports Hub app. Sports Hub headlines brought to you by IBEW 103. And Nico Electrical Contractors, IBEW 103, celebrating 125 years of powering Greater Boston to find a qualified contractor for your next electrical, telecom, or security project. Today, visit thepowerprofessionals.org. My name is Adam 12 on Boston's home for sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Next headlines right around 7.
Pocket. Sends one across. McAvoy.
Fred describes himself in 7 words.
A guy in tights and a cape.
And Hardy with blunt honesty.
I am not known as Mr. Fun.
Dutcher and Hardy continues on the Sports Hub.
We are Dutcher and Hardy. Hardy, what else is going on, my friend?
Well, Kendrick Perkins has thoughts on Shadur Sanders, as most people do these days, but this is a take that I've not yet heard.
Shadur Sanders is the most powerful black man since 2009. You know what happened in 2009?
Right.
That's when President Obama got elected in office. He's the most powerful black man since 2009. Think about it. Okay, you got the black community. He bringing the whole black community together.
Huh. Okay. If you want to convince yourself that everybody is obsessed with Shadur Sanders and his ability to get into games, I would say right now that maybe guys like Kendrick Lamar have maybe more influence. And
I mean, let's think about it. When I give you the names Josh McCown, Brandon Weeden, Colt McCoy, Charlie Fry, Kelly Holcomb, Doug Peterson, Mike Tomczak, immediately what you think of is starting Cleveland Brown quarterbacks.
That's right.
And the amount of power that they wield in the black community.
Right.
Brian Sipe was an MVP at one point. I don't know if you recall that. And he
You're saying
was basically an emperor.
You're saying it stretches beyond football. It's about politics and the economy.
Listen, we all know when you put on that orange helmet, you're taking on a great responsibility, not only for that team, but for mankind.
Yeah.
When the Cleveland market is behind you, look out. I mean, that's where the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is temporarily, at least, until they move it. They don't even I don't even think they do the inductions there anymore. I think they do them in L.A. now.
Well, they were doing them in New York for the first several years of it. Did they move it to the actual hall in Cleveland for a time?
I just know that on the Stern Show they talked about Gary going out to the Hall of Fame. I didn't really listen to it, but enough to know exactly what went on. But the thing was, I guess he went to L.A. for the induction of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Which, if I'm in Cleveland, I'm like, why the hell did we give you the money to build this? Why did we give you the property downtown, prime real estate downtown, to build something you can't even be bothered? We have a major airport and everything. You can't even be bothered to have the induction ceremony here?
And isn't there a huge performance space there, too? I think that's a big part of that whole thing.
My assumption is Cleveland was the place that agreed to put it up, because Cleveland wouldn't be the place you put the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I mean, if it wasn't New York or L.A., you would put it in Detroit, obviously, without question.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's no debating it. You would put it in Detroit.
Yeah.
Between Motown and the Stooges and all these stuff, there's too much.
So they opened in '86, and the induction, the ceremony happened in New York City. The first ceremony in Cleveland didn't happen until '97, 11 years later. Apparently now they do even-numbered years in Cleveland, odd-numbered years they either go to New York or L.A.
Right. And if I'm Cleveland, I'm like, we gave you this property. Why can't you just do it in Cleveland? Why is it so difficult for you with the advent of the plane to let bad company come to Cleveland? Well, they'll be at a casino in our environs anyway soon.
Luxury air jet travel.
Yeah, a lot of these
should afford you the ability to get these people here.
I mean, one of the guys that got inducted this year is playing halftime tomorrow at the Lions game. I mean, Jack White's playing halftime at the Lions game tomorrow. I'll be there.
Is there a radius clause situation? Can like Foreigner just play the induction and then immediately go the next night and play a couple of
riverboat casinos,
7:30 and 10:30 gigs over at the casino?
Yeah, it's not like a lot of these like Chubby Checker and stuff. Like, I mean, what the hell? What, they can't go to Cleveland?
Yeah.
It's asinine. I guess no one would go because it's not like a big enough deal to them, which is more of an indictment on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame than it is to Cleveland. I mean, it's ridiculous. Just have them in Cleveland. You're not asking them to go to like a small island. You're asking them to go to a major city. Have him go to Cleveland. Cleveland's not even a bad city.
I wonder what Trunk's take is on this. I wonder if he also wants
don't
to
get
see them
don't get him started. He was in the okay. Now you got me going. All right, he was in the box at the Raiders game with the Davis kid.
Splits his time in Vegas.
Well, no, Mark, you're interrupting me. You don't even know what I'm saying.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Do you follow him on Instagram? No. Mark Davis, Eddie Trunk. Mark Davis goes, Trunk, come up, please. For a game a couple weeks ago, can you come up to my box and spend the game in the owner's box?
Yeah.
Eddie did. Caller, Eddie, did you talk to Mark about the problem? And he's like, what's the problem? And he's like, the Super Bowl halftime. Look, I'm not saying don't have R&B acts. I'm saying have it for everyone. For instance, country, R&B, rock and roll.
All three.
Well, 2006, 2007, 2008.
You rotate.
It's a problem. The rock and roll community, I mean, Jay-Z, first of all, black guy, who's he going to pick to play the halftime? They're blacks.
Curtis Blow or something.
I mean, every show, it's really something to be studied because he got nothing to talk about.
Right.
So, like, every show, it's bitching about that Super Bowl halftime show as if that's an inalienable right that, like, this downtrodden rock community is not being properly looked upon. And by the way, what this, like, call of AC/DC to play the rock, I would encourage you to go look at footage of AC/DC playing live.
Yeah, you don't want that.
And if I'm AC/DC, I don't want that.
No.
I don't want to be on international television with hundreds of millions of people watching me when I'm 85 and I can't even play anymore. What rock band? First of all, it's ludicrous as if like this is a special interest group, some downtrodden minority that needs to be looked upon, the rock and roll community. But, I mean, his idea, you know his idea in San Francisco. I told you.
Yeah.
Was Metallica, sure. But not only Metallica, rotating stage. This was the idea of one of the bands. My mailman come up to me the other day and he was like, I was going to kill those guys. They didn't know. Journey and Sammy Hagar.
Yeah.
That was the idea. Sammy Hagar is the idea. 80-year-old Sammy Hagar, an 80-year-old Journey. That's the idea for the Super Bowl.
Not the whole show, 1/3 of the show.
Sammy Hagar.
Yeah, the Red Rider.
He was not
yes.
mentioned in the Alex Van Halen biography you would mention.
No, he doesn't mention him one time. I don't know, honestly, what happened there. I do know when I went to see Van Halen with David Lee Roth as an adult, I left during the first song because I didn't want to see it anymore.
I wanted to leave.
It was too depressing.
It's not good.
Dave would not sing.
Nope.
So Sammy's no doubt the superior performer.
Yeah.
But I'm going to call.
Now I'm hearing it in my head as Enter Sandman kind of kicks things off, and then the dum ba 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 boom.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
kind of fading out, and then you start in a dun 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 dun, and all of a sudden the stage rotates, and then you got Who's Crying Now,
Okay.
kind of like rises up from the ashes of the fading Enter Sandman,
And then well, if I may, and then and that fades, and then the stage turns, and there's just a little box there, and everyone's like, "What the hell is this?" And then the keen eyes see there's 3 locks on it, and then all of a sudden, red leather pants, red leather vest comes up, 3-lock box, 1, 2, 3 lock box. Stakes are high, money talks, but nothing can touch my 3-lock box.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the whole crowd goes, oh my God, remember 3-lock box? My mailman's like, I saw Sammy Hagar many times. He's like, I realized he saw him open, I guess, for Journey in 1977. And I'm like, was it him? Or was it Montrose? And he's like, I don't know. And I said, there you go.
That's a good story.
That's it. All right. What's up, Tony? I know his name now because he was offended when you asked me his name and I didn't know it.
Oh.
Yeah, that's on you. All right, we'll be back.
Stevie and I got a thing now. If I'm outside when he comes by with the mail, I just stand out there with my hand, and he doesn't actually stop the mail truck. We kind of do like a handoff thing.
Oh, that's
now.
fun.
It is fun.
And a gift to him because he doesn't really, he can just.
Oh, yeah, he just keeps on moving.
Human touch.
Yeah.
All right, we will be back. Bert Breer is scheduled to be in studio. We'll see if that happens.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy.
Under Sonny Gray from the St. Louis Cardinals, pitchers Rich Lewis in return. Once all the math is worked out, the Cardinals are on the hook for about $20 million of Gray's contract, so there's that. A few roster moves for the Patriots. Tackle Thaler Munford, now on the active roster. Guard Bill Murray, now on the practice squad. Cornerback Alex Austin moves to the IR to open up the slot for Munford. Thanksgiving Eve hockey. The Bruins are in New York to play the Islanders. Pregame at 6:30, puck drop at 7 here on 98.5 The Sports Hub and the Sports Hub app if you're traveling, and probably on TV at the bar if you're doing the whole night before Thanksgiving thing at your local watering hole. Thanksgiving Eve hoops. The Celtics at the Garden hosting the Detroit Pistons. If you're keeping score, it's Game 4 of group play for the NBA Cup. Pregame with Grandy and Max at 4:30. Tip-off at 5 over on 105.7 WROR. Thanksgiving high football rivalry games got underway at Fenway Park last night. The Wakefield Warriors topped the Melrose Redhawks 20-9, winning their 5th straight Turkey Day tilt. 3 games at Fenway today, Newton North and Brookline at 1:30. Our own Ryan Beaton's alma mater, Plymouth South, takes on Plymouth North at 4. Lexington and Concord Carlisle face off. Well, you can't say that, it's football. Play each other at 6:30. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by the 99 Restaurants. Speaking of Thanksgiving Eve, reunite with friends and family at the Nines the night before Thanksgiving. Enjoy full-size appetizers for just $6.99 and special trivia at the bar from 2 to close. You gotta love the Nines. My name is Adam 12 on Boston's home for Sports 98.5 The Sports Hub. Next headlines in about 30 minutes.
There's the potential there for big stuff.
98.5 The Sports Hub app. Get the app. Kutcher and Hardy.
Individuals who seek acceptance, respite, and care.
98.5 The Sports Hub.
Hey. Oh, you went against playing the ska. That was a big thing in your brain.
Yeah, and then I got to do this headlines stuff this morning, so I've only got.
It was too much to curate.
Too much to curate. I'll do one more ska song later on, so it can be like a faux skank skin.
He doesn't have the bandwidth for.
And technically, this band
30 seconds of headlines twice
ska.
an hour and pulling out 4 song clips.
Come
on, what do you want?
Saying. I should have played a ska no effects song. That would have been the move, I guess.
I just know you were all hot and bothered to do the ska thing on Thanksgiving. To which I didn't want, but then I acquiesced because you were so. You and Nick were just.
Well, you got what you want after all, so that's good.
Well, yeah, I was thinking about it until now.
Yeah.
Until just now.
Nights.
Last night I was tossing and turning. It was racking through my brain.
Well, where are you going for Thanksgiving?
Just staying local. Nothing special, yeah.
What church base?
Just hanging around. No, library basement the Sunday after Thanksgiving for an event.
You really?
Joke. Yeah, for real. Yeah, we're doing a Saturday rather. Woburn does a big like holiday festival. So the CPAC, the Special Education Parent Advisory Council I volunteer with, we're doing a little event in the basement for kids that may be a little overwhelmed by all the lights and the noise and all that. Give them a little chill-out zone so they can come.
So it's nothing that I can make fun of.
No, sadly. I'm sorry to say.
Well played.
Thank you. It's a constant game of chess between you and I
can't really go against like the whole thing for the sensory sensitive.
See? Yeah.
All right. You've got me here, Adam. All right. Bert Breer, of course, senior NFL reporter and lead content strategist for the MMQB. Hi, Bert.
Hey, guys. What's happening? Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Got it cut off there.
Happy Thanksgiving to you. All right. Okay, so this Pablo Torre, Bill Belichick...
is relentless.
Yeah. There is a new things coming out all the time. The most if you don't know, much to... just put your. But when I go through this, put yourself in Belichick's shoes. And why are you still doing this? Is that you got a girlfriend, and she's been nothing but a pain in the ass, and it's caused you a bunch of problems, and then everything's going wrong in your career, and she decides to hop out at the worst time and go, "I'm going to sue the guy that's been doing the most content about you," and then the guy goes, "Oh yeah." And now you've just like poked the cage, and now like Pablo Torre is not like a hack.
No,
Page 6 guy. Like I mean, he's
a legitimate journalist.
Yeah, he's like a Harvard educated. Yeah. Like the guy isn't screwing around, And so she says she's going to sue Pablo Torre. Pablo Torre says, well, come on the show. And she goes, here's why I'm going to sue you. And she puts up these screenshots. And Pablo Torre says, why, when I do this, does it look like it's been photoshopped with Adobe Photoshop, which is a callback joke to something she had said on a hot mic. And she then posts more stuff, da-da-da-da. Then the Meadowlark Media, who owns the Pablo Torre podcast, says, please sue me. You're leaking all this information to Page 6 about the Belichicks, which we didn't even get into yesterday. But the guy from Meadowlark Media alleges that she's giving all this information to the New York Post about the Belichick family. And that, to me, is like, okay, now this stops. Because ultimately, and this might sound corny, but, you got 3 kids. You got to, when grandkids and stuff, like, okay, now you're, like, actively sabotaging my family. Yeah. And this is no longer, like, fun. This part is serious. Like, if you are leaking stuff to Page 6 about my family because you're aggravated at them, that's not acceptable. I can't have this. I'm not willing to toss my family away. And this isn't an instance of the family going like, I'm afraid I'm not going to get my money. And I'm sure that's part of it, but maybe it's not. But it's like, hey, dude, like this is like a huge embarrassment. And she's now actively sabotaging us.
Well, you feel like
you got to stop.
I'm sure to some degree you feel like your dad's getting taken advantage of, right? Like, so like that's got to be part of it.
But now it's personal because now you're leaking information about me, who's not really a public, like Steve Belichick. That's the thing. By the way, Steve Belichick's wife's not a public figure, right? Like Steve Belichick's wife, being the wife of a college defensive coordinator does not launch you. Hang on a second. Just does not launch you into a stratosphere of, trophy wife or like, Kardashian. Like you're allowed to have a private life married to a college defensive coordinator. Mm-hmm. These are not positions of great power. So if someone's giving the public information about you or even you by proxy, that's a real issue, right? No debate, correct?
Right. You're turning someone into a public figure who didn't ask for it, basically, is what you're saying.
And if you want to talk about defamation and what needs to be proved, the burden of proof on someone who's not a public figure is way lower than a public figure. Like if you were, I was to sue you about something you said about me, it would be much more difficult for me to prove than if you sued your mailman or your mailman sued you, right? Like so.
Well, and if I'm Bill too, like, so this has gone from like, because I'm sure. Look, I don't know for a fact that she's the source, but like a lot of like my work and figuring out like when I'm trying to when you're reading other people's work, part of it is trying to figure out where something came from, right? And I hate when people out other people's sources publicly and all of that, but it's not hard to look at this because the number one thing I ask when I look at something like this when it comes out is, okay, who would be motivated to talk? Do you think Jen Belichick would be motivated to leak that conversation? Do you think Bill Belichick would be motivated to leak that conversation? Like, who would be actually motivated to do it? And so, like, the one that makes sense is Jordan Hudson, who's been looking for attention constantly.
And sympathy and empathy because she's been cast
and
as
it's
the
not
villain.
like she's run from the spotlight. She went and did Miss Maine after all this crap came out in the spring, right? So she's actively been looking for attention as this goes on because, like, she's been posting stuff of her and Bill, the stuff on the beach and all that different stuff.
And that's when I knew this was all going to happen.
Right.
I didn't know to this degree, obviously, but as soon as you don't put pictures of yourself in an old ugly guy, famous old ugly guy, up on your social medias, and if you don't want attention like that, there's a very easy way to be a low profile girlfriend of Bill Belichick, regardless of your age. Don't talk about it publicly.
Well, and so if you're Bill now, and this is just me talking, but if you're Bill now, this goes from, all right, my daughter-in-law doesn't like that I have a relationship with somebody who's 20 years younger than her, to now you're like publicly embarrassing my family because now you're taking something that's like a family issue and splashing it in the New York Post. Like, how mad would you be if you were Bill?
Bert, this.
And we're 10 steps past that. But
I would have been so enraged if I were Bill by now that I don't even know that this moves the needle anymore.
I am single, so I can speak of this, and I have a family. If I dated a woman that put a picture of us on Instagram, I would be like, what are you doing?
Right.
Like, why are you doing this? Why are you announcing to my kids' friends that you and I are having sex?
Right.
Like I don't want any of this. Like
right.
So that's right. That's when everyone went, what are you doing? You're jealous and this and this and this. No. I truly meant a year and a half ago, what's going on? Like, stop this now. All of this is going to, like, if I want to take you out in public and have dinner or take you even to an event, that's my business. F you, screw off. Yeah, I'm dating this girl. Fine.
Right.
But that's my decision. Like, it's completely unnecessary for you. You don't need to put photos on a public Instagram account of me and you. What the hell are you doing that for?
Now you've created a problem for me.
Right, exactly. Because now I have to explain it. If I want to do something with you publicly, we'll have that conversation and make that decision. You don't have to put photos of us. And I'm not Bill Belichick by any stretch of the imagination. And I don't have some freak, crazy, controversial relationship going on. But, I mean, there's really nothing legally I could do that would have that age discrepancy.
Right.
So, I mean, it's out of the question. But say by some miracle I was dating a 24-year-old girl, which would be much, by the way, not even as, it would be weird, but not nearly as weird as what Bill's doing. I mean, at least I'm 23 years younger than Bill Belichick. And she started like dancing around, putting pictures of us on Instagram. I'd be like, are you out of your mind? And I would immediately stop it there. If someone was leaking information, now we're getting into a situation where if I was dating someone and they said anything about my family to like Chad Finn or something, and he wouldn't run it, but like, I'm not famous enough for any of this.
Chad Finn wouldn't do that? Yeah. You don't think he'd get a little fired up with the information?
No, he seems like a decent person. I don't think anyone around would be.
I like Chad too.
I don't think anyone would. I don't think anyone cares enough, first of all. But you understand what my point is.
Yeah.
If anyone, even like, say it like on Twitter said like, oh boy, Fred's ex-wife said this and this and this. My ex-wife, I would be like, okay, well now this is over immediately. Yeah, of course. This is an undeniable line crossing that is completely unacceptable. I never understand why guys get, or women, that for that matter, anybody, women or men, this is, and I'm not white knighting, I really do believe this, why someone who's a public figure would get involved with someone whose entire purpose is wanting to be famous on the wake of your fame. And then I've seen it even in radio, and I've known immediately this is not going to last. I'll give it. A guy worked with Jimmy, married a woman. She wanted to be famous. I knew it. It happened on that Burt show. I knew it. This isn't going to work. You can't have someone that, if two people that are public figures, like a newscaster and a radio person, get together, that's fine. You're both like public figures. If someone's trying to become a public figure based on dating a public figure, that's never going to work. It's never going to work. Because there's always that extra layer of, you're not in this for the same reason I'm in this.
It does make me like one of the things, like just listening to you talk now, that kind of hit me is like, a lot of times we'll see like the 22, 23-year-old athlete who seems to have his head in the clouds, right? And one of the things you always kind of ask is like, does he just have a bunch of yes men surrounding him? Like Shadur is a good example. Like I've asked that a lot about Shadur. It's like, I don't think the kid knows any better because I think he's surrounded with people who just, basically validate everything he does, rubber stamp every single one of his actions. You don't think of that as like a football coach when he was in his 70s, but like, is no one like telling Bill the truth now? And it is like, is she so like when Jen Belichick goes to Bill and tries to tell him the truth, it winds up in the New York Post.
And you could see this
like,
years
it's
ago,
crazy
too.
because like I think we all have friends, right? Like I know I do, I have friends, like a ton of friends, like where if I act a certain way, like I'm gonna get checked by them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
I think most people have that in their life. My wife will check me on stuff. You know,
This started years ago with Bill, though, when he said he only really wants to coach players that he likes. He wants coaches around him that he likes, and that's how you get.
So is that
Patricia,
just yes men?
Mike Lombardi, and these guys who are just going to go along with what he wants.
And you said that I heard you on the midday show yesterday, Bert. I'll just set you up. Is that you were saying that this hurt Bill within the NFL, right? His circle is incompetent.
And I, you know, again, like I brought up the example of Sean Payton and with the Giants. You know what I mean? Like, which is like, you know, like Sean Payton's got a great relationship with the Giants, but Sean Payton had some of that stuff in New Orleans that, like, where the Giants, because they view themselves as this like Tiffany franchise, won't hire someone like that. And I think Bill is in that category now. They love Bill. John Mara's got a great relationship with Bill. I just don't think they would go down that road because, like, we don't want to deal with that. We're the New York Giants. And so I think that very much exists. And look, there's a million different reasons why it'd be tough for an NFL team right now to hire him. I think the biggest one is what I discussed yesterday, which is, like, there's this perception out there, whether it's real or not, that if you hire Bill Belichick, you have to make your whole organization about Bill Belichick. And that's not the way it is with every coach. Like, you hire Bill, it's like, okay, like, now we're adopting his way. We've got to bring in his people who know how to execute his plan. And do you really want to do that for a guy who might be there for 2 years?
Or a guy who, outside of the actual physical coaching of the team, seems to be rather inept and surrounds himself with inept people.
Right.
Like,
it's
Mike
wild.
Lombardi is not considered a scientist in NFL circles. I mean, you don't even have to validate that. I mean, Mike Lombardi is an idiot.
Think about being one of his kids right now, or one of the in-laws right now, where you're looking at it and you're like, if I say 3 cross words to this idiot, then it's going to wind up in the New York Post.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, what sort of, like, I mean, like, I don't want to dive into anybody else's family dynamics, but how screwed up is that?
Well, it's not your fault that you're diving into the family dynamics.
It's Jordan's fault.
Believe me, I've read stuff outside of media about what I've heard.
I've heard too. We've all heard
I
that.
mean,
Yeah.
I think you were here for one of them.
Yeah.
But, like, Jen Belichick, to my knowledge, has not been excited about this for a long time.
This
but
is
it's not
new.
like I went on the air and, like, went, oh, here, look at what Jen Belichick said.
Right.
It's entirely. So that would be, I think, crossing a line. This is just you. It's fascinating because everyone labeled him as a genius, but he's truly an inept idiot.
Well, and it's like he was in a relationship with Linda Holiday for how long, right? And she's significantly younger than him too, not by anywhere close to this sort of gap, but like she's on social media and all of that. And you never saw any of this sort of thing. So what's the variable there? The variable is Jordan, right? Like, so it is, I mean, it is just, I don't know where this goes next, because I wouldn't have guessed that it would go here, where there'd be a confrontation between her and the daughter-in-law that would become this public. It's just insane. The whole thing's insane.
It's insane. But it was what happens when stupid people accumulate too much wealth and power. It ultimately turns into a disaster.
Yeah, and I mean, look, like, there's all kinds of weird stuff here where, I mean, you really, it makes you wonder to what level he's being taken advantage of. Because, I mean, you guys have seen some of the stuff that I've seen. I think I've shown you some. Like, there's some stuff here that's like, whoa. Like, you know, like, so I just, like, I don't know how this ends.
Yeah. It all started with Grandpa at a hayride. I saw it coming from there. Oh no, this isn't good.
Apple picking.
Hey, we're apple picking. There's big old jugs sitting there. He's got bigger boobs than she does, and that's a fact, not opinion. And I will, if you take me to court, I'll bring up shots of him coming off the field at the North Carolina-Stanford game.
You guys see how they lost on Saturday?
Believe me, I see everything. I can't stop watching that team.
It was a hell of a play.
A lot of control over those kids. How many personal fouls were in that game? I mean, there was a lot of extracurricular stuff from that undisciplined North Carolina team, and also fake
handshake
field.
went a little better this week, though.
Yeah, well, listen, he didn't even know it was a rivalry. He didn't even know Duke, North Carolina was a rivalry, he claims. And I believe him now. Before, I think he was just being coy. But I think a lot of the times he seemed to be being coy. It was legitimate stupidity and ignorance.
I thought his first words were beat Duke.
You know, I don't know. He claimed, Cerrone Battle said he claimed that he didn't know that there was a rivalry.
Oh.
So there you go. There's a lot of, listen, if Bill Belichick leaves her, I don't think it will go well. No, if people are commenting on the phone. We'll end the conversation here. But yes, I think we all know if and when this relationship ends short of his death, that even when he dies, that this is not going to go well. Like, I don't think she's going to be constrained and demure in her handling of how the relationship went
no, I don't
publicly.
think she's going to handle it maturely.
No, I do not believe so. All right, we'll talk about actual football. It's very fortunate to have Bert here a couple days early. We will have that for you in just a moment.
You're listening to Sports Hub.
Now, since this was never licensed, would this get flagged?
Oh, that's a good question.
Because
only one way to find out.
Bob James would not give the license, the permission to Souls of Mischief to use the themes to Taxi,
right?
Which is got another name. It's a lady's name.
Oh yeah,
but they would not. He would not allow it.
Hardy should know that. Hardy, what's the name of the Taxi theme song?
I have no idea.
It's like a lane or something like that. It's something like that. All right, Bert Breer from MMQB is here. Bert, the Patriots with some injuries. First of all, have you heard anything about the status of the two offensive linemen?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a while for both. They're lucky in that it looks like neither of them are season ending. But an MCL, in the case of Will Campbell, can be tricky coming back from. So, you think that would be about a month. And again, I don't know if they've nailed down the firm timeline on that yet.
So what's the process? So you outside of the MRI and everything?
The MRI, and then you come out of it, and there's a little bit of some rehab work. So these things can be, and there's the grades of MCL, which that's the I ought to dig into that a little bit more today and find out. But it's the grade of MCL sprain, which some of them can be 8 weeks, some of them can be.
Some of them require
weeks,
surgery.
Some of them, yeah. There's different grades. And the other thing is, people don't really realize the word sprain means tear.
Oh, well.
So sprain.
Strange.
Yeah.
Say it again.
So a sprain is a tear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a severe MCL sprain is
a tear.
Yes. Which requires
a minor.
If you realize, if you hear a doctor talk about a torn ACL, they'll say a sprained ACL.
So a minor sprain could just be a stretch where it doesn't tear.
It's tear. It's not a full tear.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
minor, tear, but there's tearing.
There's tearing, and then a major MCL.
A full tear is it snaps.
It snaps, and you don't have the ligament anymore. But a severe MCL strain is you're
right.
If you were to move on it anymore, it would most likely snap.
Get worse. Yeah.
Yes, and it would
Both
get worse.
These injuries are injuries that can be made worse. The high ankle sprain, which is I wish there was another term for it because it actually is a serious injury.
Because in as evidenced with part of the modern treatment for it is an operation where they tightrope the ligaments together. So again, I know, audience, that you're very sensitive about the Will Campbell injury and you do not like speculation on it.
Yeah.
But I just would like to know that you and I both don't know the severity of the injury. Now, now I hope that is satisfied everyone. But go ahead.
Yeah.
So we don't know. Let's just leave it there. But what are how much does this affect them?
The key is that this is a moving target with both of them because those are both injuries that you can make worse by playing on them, particularly the high ankle sprain. How big a deal is this? It's a very big deal. I think left tackle is one of the hardest positions to replace, as evidenced by the Patriots' offensive line problems over the last 5 years. It's as hard a position to replace as any on the field. I think there are offensive lines that have been pretty good that have been completely sabotaged by bad left tackle play. I think there are I think there are average offensive lines that have been made to look good by great left tackle play. And to me, the Rams and the 49ers are the best examples of it, where how many offensive linemen can you name that played for the Niners since Kyle Shanahan got there other than the left tackles? I mean, maybe people know about Alex Mack, but he was in the back end of his career. There aren't very many. Mike McGlinchey, those Niners teams have been held up on the offensive line by Joe Staley and then Trent Williams. And the Rams were a dumpster fire when Jeff Fisher was there on the offensive line. Sean McVay gets there, they sign Andrew Whitworth. All of a sudden, the offensive line isn't an issue anymore. that position is very, very important. And the reason why is because it's the position that's on the island, right? And so if you're not good there, then you need to help there. You either get beat there a lot because there are great pass rushers over there, and they're going to put a great pass rusher over there if you're deficient at it, right?
Or you're taking away resources to help out over there,
Exactly.
which doesn't alleviate as much.
It changes the math. And it's especially a problem if you use your tight ends and running backs in the passing game a lot, because those are generally going to be the positions that you're gonna use to help, right? Like the Raiders are a good example. Like, why have the Raiders fallen apart the way they have? They were already pretty bad. They become awful now. Well, why? Colton Miller, their left tackle, got hurt. So now, like, they got to use running backs and tight ends to help. Well, their running backs and tight ends are Brock Bowers, Michael Mayer, and Ashton Genty, the three best players on their offense. So if you're taking those guys out of the passing game to help your left tackle, now all of a sudden the math changes as far as what the defense has to cover. It just changes everything. And the Patriots have been reliant on their tight ends. So is it manageable? Yes. Is it going to hurt them? Absolutely, it's going to hurt them. And I can't, like, Will Campbell's not Anthony Munoz out there. However, the difference between the 1st and 12th best left tackle in football is smaller than the difference between, like, the 12th and the 24th. Like, if you're bad at that position, it is a real problem. And I think that's what people are missing here. And that's why, like, Jeff Stoutland in Philly, Dante Scarnecchia here for all of those years. That's why those guys were so valuable. Some of those guys, like, there are very few guys who've been, like, magicians with it. Chris Furster, who had his trouble in Miami, if you guys remember back in the day. I don't know if you guys remember that.
No.
The offensive line coach of the Dolphins who got caught on video.
No, I don't remember that.
Oh, you don't remember that?
No.
I will never forget that for as long as I live.
Chopping up lines on a FaceTime, or he was sending a video to his girlfriend.
Yeah. I didn't. Okay. Yeah.
I will never forget that for as long as I live. It was a normal Sunday, I think in September, and I'm just trying to do my work. It's 10 o'clock. And someone sent it to me, and I'm like, oh, my God, I'm going to be up all night. Like, because I knew I was going to have to.
It was an unorthodox courtship. It's not necessarily what one of us would think.
The heart wants what the heart wants.
Would woo a woman. Here, I'm going to make a video of me chopping up lines of coke and snorting them and saying things to you while I'm doing it.
Well, yeah. I mean, look at what's on the other side of the rainbow. Look what's waiting for you.
Only one thing's undefeated.
Imagine if cell phone cameras were around when Wayne Fontes was coach.
Oh, man.
He was going.
Well, he may have been able to actually capture that UFO that he claims he saw.
I don't even know that story.
Yeah.
I know he was nude in a drive-thru and that they found coke in his glove box and he blamed his kid.
You think Peyton Manning blaming his wife for the HGH is bad? Oh, no. There was a head coach who blamed his kid.
Yeah, for the coke that was in his glove box.
Okay,
yes.
But let me ask you this in terms of the injury. Obviously, the left tackle and whatever they have to do there, for as many weeks or the season is a huge impact. Mm-hmm. What do you think ultimately would impact this team's season more? That injury, that one specific Will Campbell injury on the offensive line, or is it Milton Williams? Because I think I'd say Milton Williams because, see, it's interesting, though, because that's like sort of a philosophical question, which is like, is it going to cost you more managing that and taking resources out of your passing game to manage that, or is it going to affect you more taking the piece that the other team has to manage out of the equation? Because that's like what he's the guy, Milton Williams is the guy more so than anybody on their defense that the other team has to look at and, okay, we have to deal with him. So now the math changes over there too, right? Like how you deal with Christian Barmore changes too. You have less one-on-ones on the edge. That's going to make things harder on Chason and Landry. So, like, I think in both, interestingly enough, like in both cases, they become math problems. How much do you have to
devote to do this, and how's it going to affect you everywhere else?
It's funny. Chase Daniel, ex-Missouri quarterback, made $20 billion being a backup in the NFL, has these videos up now on The Athletic that are fairly easily digestible. They're like 3.5-minute videos. And he was showing the Cleveland offense during Shadur Sanders' first game, not the one against Vegas, but the one before that. And he was showing what Baltimore was doing and how the line wasn't reacting right to it. And it's just like, oh, who wants to put up with this? Like they would bring like 8 guys up. Yep. And then you'd have to figure out pre-snap who's coming and who's like going back. And the Ravens bring Hamilton, that safety, up on every play, and you have no idea. And then he would stunt, and then Van Noy would move and take a different gap.
It's harder to play quarterback than it's ever been.
Yeah, and then it's also hard as the line to even know where to block, because he's like showing these videos, and because you're talking about the math problem, and like the Cleveland left tackle is out in space, and Van Noy's running right by him because he doesn't see Van Noy coming because he's coming from a different position on the line, and da-da-da-da-da. Like, it's got to be a difficult, even talking like a quarterback, impossible, but like an offensive lineman even to see where this pressure is coming from.
They have to communicate and like figure out like, okay, like that was actually one of the most fascinating conversations I ever had with Brady, was talking to him about like, the mic points. And for people who don't know, it's like when you hear on the broadcast, 55 is the mic, right? And sort of learning about how Brady did that and like how valuable it was to the entire Patriots operation. And basically, 55 people think it's the Mike linebacker. When I say 55 is the Mike, they think that's the Mike linebacker. That's not what it is. It's who's the 5th pass rusher is the Mike. And so like he would say 44 is the Mike, like, and he would be able to identify who the 5th pass rusher is. And it was really interesting hearing that, because I remember asking, like, I was like, because I know with some teams, like sometimes they would call the mic and it would just split the protection. So it's like the mic is the center of the defense, so that's how we're going to split the protection. The way Brady did it, more teams do it now, the mic is the 5th pass rusher. And
they know that from film breakdown?
And they know that from tendencies and everything else. And I asked Brady, I'm like, how often are you right? And he looked and he like laughed and he goes, I'm almost never wrong. And like, but you think about the advantage that gives you, right? Like if you know who the 5th guy coming is, now all of a sudden that allows for the offensive line
to shift
to say, okay, I got him. And if the quarterback's normally right on that, that might mean we don't have to keep the 6th guy in. So now if they've got 5 guys coming, they've got less guys covering and more guys going out into the route.
Changes in an instant.
It changes everything.
And the math all of a sudden balances again.
You know what I call that? 3D chess.
3D chess. But you don't even need that anymore. You can just watch certain broadcasts, and sometimes they'll circle the player, and that player doesn't do nothing. But sometimes I think they're circling the mic. Sometimes they're just circling a guy that they want to circle, and they just look at that.
The best is when they use the Madden graphics, and then they come up for no reason. You're like, what's going on? Why are these two randoms being got red circles under them?
Right. Oh, should I watch him?
That's a big NFL Network broadcast problem. All right, we really got to break. All right, here are the headlines.
Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Patriots roster moves. Taylor Mumford, active roster. Bill Murray, practice squad. Alex Austin, IR. Red Sox, they've traded for St. Louis starter Sonny Pickles Gray. That's his nickname, Pickles. Look it up. Boston Celtics, Garden tonight with the Pistons. Pre-game 4:30 tip-off at 5. That's on WROR down the hall. Bruins in New York tonight. Islanders pre-game at 6:30. Puck drop at 7 right here on the Sports Hub and the Sports Hub app. Sports Hub headlines brought to you by Super Service Today. Winter's coming. Don't get caught in the cold. Super Service Today gives your home a full heating system, health, and safety check. The most thorough in New England, guaranteed. Book now at superservicetoday.com. I'm Adam 12 on Boston's home for Sports 98.5 The Sports Hub. Another update coming up pretty soon.
everybody because I know it's great radio when we bring that on.
I was just asking a yes or no situation. But go ahead.
Yeah, no, we were talking about guys that could be available, in the quarterback market in 26 because Fred wanted to know because of the Jets and, a couple of names that have kind of come up. Kyler Murray, Tua Tagovailoa are sort of both in the same situation where they're expensive for next year, but that's the end of the guarantees in their contract. So if the Dolphins or Cardinals, the Dolphins obviously will have a new GM. We'll see about coach. The Cardinals could have some change. If new people come into either of those places, maybe they look to move on from those guys. Kirk Cousins is another one who could very well be available. And then I think you'd be looking at like I think everybody's going to be looking for their next, and maybe two on Kyler fit into this category, but like the Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, like that sort of reclamation project, because I don't think the quarterback class in the draft is going to be great. Like, I think Fernando Mendoza from Indiana is flawed. I don't know if Dante Moore from Oregon is going to come out. Apparently,
they're going to pay him a lot.
They're going to pay him a ton to stay. And then, Ty Simpson from Alabama, he's short. Apparently, like, he's going to measure out at like under 6'1", from what I understand. And like, I don't think he's that physically gifted. And there are questions about his personality too. So there's just all kinds of things out there where you look at it and say the quarterbacks who need one now might be looking for stopgaps to get themselves to 27, where potentially there could be better options available.
Is there, outside of safety and running back, is there any real talent in this draft?
The draft class isn't great. Like, I think the guys who I've heard could be in the running to be the first pick. There's a tackle at Utah who's a right tackle, not a left tackle, and might be a guard. Spencer Fano is his name. So, like, that just kind of explains, like, that further illustrates how hard it is to find great left tackles. There's the linebacker from Ohio State, Arvell Reese, who is just a cyborg, right? Like, so people think that he could be a Micah Parsons type on the line, off the line. There's a pass rusher at Miami, Reuben Bain.
I saw him in person,
and he's short, and like that's the thing is like he doesn't like if you're taking a pass rusher number 1 overall. You want him to be like 6'5", 270. You want him to look like Myles Garrett or Jadeveon Clowney or Julius Peppers, and that's not what this guy is. There's the safety from Ohio State, who I think is probably the best player in the draft, but he's a safety.
And Jeremiah Love is a great running back.
But he's a running back.
A running back.
Right. So, like, that's the thing is, like, the two best players in the draft might be Caleb Downs and Jeremiah Love, but the positional value, it's hard to take those guys number 1 overall.
It's funny because Caleb Downs, people are just saying is like but you look at what Kyle Hamilton does for the Ravens.
Yeah, he is.
And you think like there's
Caleb
worse
Downs
things I
like,
could do.
Caleb Downs, like, so the way Matt Patricia's using him there is like almost like an Ed Reed. He's using him everywhere, like moving him all over the place, or a Troy Polamalu, where it's like you can play him almost anywhere. They play him as a nickel linebacker. They play him deep. They play him, they play him they play him in the nickel, as a corner. Like you can move him around and do a million different things with him. He's one of those players where it's like, if you're looking to do a lot of disguise in your defense, he's kind of like the Joker, where you put him anywhere you want,
Because is Kyle Hamilton the best kid that came out of that draft class that he was in?
Yeah, and he was like one of these where he was like 6'4", so people weren't used to looking at like a 6'4" safety, But it's turned out to be, and he went to the exact right place too. Like that is if you're talking about like a guy who doesn't really have a position or doesn't really fit into a mold, like Baltimore's one of those places where a guy like that can thrive.
But yeah, so Aiden Hutchinson and Stingley were in that draft. I think he's better than Sauce Gardner. He's better than Thibodeau. He's better than Evan Neal. Boy, the Giants whiffed on that draft.
Yeah, Thibodeau and Neal's not great.
No, they're talking about getting rid of him. Drake London's okay. I don't know who Charles Cross is. Is he any good? Garrett Wilson's good. All right, so you could make an argument. Jamison Williams and Olave. All right, so and Jordan Davis. All right, so Hamilton was picked around where he should have been picked, I suppose. But he is someone who looks like, you're aware of him on a team that Baltimore team doesn't seem awful good, especially with the condition of their quarterback.
No, but the keys to their defense are Kyle Hamilton and Roquan Smith, really.
I'll tell you, they looked flat on Sunday. They did not look good.
They're interesting because they don't look right offensively right now.
Yeah.
But their defense is really good.
Which is odd because at the beginning of the year it was how bad their defense was
Right.
and how good their offense was.
Right. Which tells you that how long these seasons are and how things can change over time.
Right.
I'll be interested to see how they look against a pretty bad Cincinnati defense on Thursday.
Yeah, because Lamar Jackson does not have that second gear right now. I mean, he's still obviously way more athletic than most quarterbacks, but the last couple, since he's been back.
Right. And they've won 5 in a row, but
he does not look the same
right,
in the offense, and it's just they look listless. Zay Flowers is like the kid on that team that looks like the most. He looks like the kid that can pop. Like Derrick Henry even is a little bit like okay,
yeah.
It's not. Derrick Henry's old.
He's 10. It's his 10th year.
He's just such a freak.
He was in the same draft class as Zeke Elliott.
I can't stop watching his high school film. That's the problem. Is that
his high school film is unbelievable.
It's just insane. I can't imagine.
For people who don't know, he played in the lowest classification in Florida, and his high school film is just it looks
like a pro playing against Pop Warner
like playing
kids.
a different sport.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Bert Breer, have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, guys.
I'm sad you will be at home and not in Detroit, Michigan, where I will be.
Detroit's actually usually where I would go in the past, but not this year. So
what's with
the Lions game is a great. I'm not saying people should go out of their way to travel there, but if you ever have the chance to do Thanksgiving game in Detroit, it's awesome.
Is this the first year they're doing a 1:00 kick instead of a 12:30?
Yeah, they moved that because of ratings.
Oh, I didn't even know that they did that.
It's a 1:00 kick.
Hey, now,
yeah,
not bad. A little American Coney Island. Guess what, Milo? You get to walk to American. You're not going to.
We weren't going to have time with a 12:30 kick, but a 1:00 kick, we got time.
Well, it used to be noon. So, I mean, things are moving around. I mean, I'll be up. The half an hour is a big difference. Because
it does feel early, doesn't it? The 12:30 kickoff.
Because now I don't have to be at that stadium until 12:15, 12:30. I don't even have to be around there. So that means that's a perfectly acceptable time to have American Coney Island at 11:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
I didn't even know it was a 1:00 kickoff.
Yep.
And I'm going with my ex-wife. So that's 1:00. I mean, that's an 8:00 dinner, my friend. There's nothing wrong with that.
Do you worry about the bathroom situation later, though?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean,
Joe Murray would.
For me, I would have thoughts about
food doesn't affect me like that. We had that conversation when Joe Murray was like, he's got to go to the bathroom. I thought you meant by sharing a hotel room with my ex-wife. No. I'm like, no.
It's also interesting.
No, food doesn't do that to me. I guess I'm fortunate.
So I forget. This is another scheduling quirk this year. The Lions, the Cowboys, and the Chiefs are all playing on Thanksgiving and Christmas. Can you imagine the level of bitching from a certain guy who comes in here at 10 a.m. every morning?
If he were the color guy for either one of those three teams?
I'd be bitching about it, too. All right, not Thanksgiving. I'd be bitching about Christmas. I do not want to work at Christmas. I've done it before. He's got every right to bitch about that. I'll give him that. All right, Bert, we got to go. It's even past 8 o'clock. All right, Bert, thank you. The cavalcade of guests continues as Chris Forsberg is here, and then Phil Perry. We are mailing it in, my friends. We'll be back in just a moment.
Stay tuned for more Toucher.
Islanders pregame at 6:30, puck drop at 7 with Ryan Johnston and Bob Beers here on 98.5 The Sports Hub and on the Sports Hub app. And the Celtics are home tonight hosting the Detroit Pistons. It's game 4 of group play for the NBA Cup. Pregame with Grandy and Max at 4:30. Tip-off at 5 on our sister station, 105.7 WROR. What's up, LBF? Fenway Park last night, they hosted the annual Thanksgiving high school football rivalry game between the Wakefield Warriors and the Melrose Red Hawks. Wakefield won 20-9. The games continue at Fenway today with Newton North and Brookline at 1:30. The Battle of the Rock, Plymouth South and Plymouth North at 4. And Lexington and Concord Carlisle round out the action at 6:30. Sports Hub headlines brought to you by John Sewer and Drain Cleaning, keeping drains flowing for homes and businesses in the greater Boston area since 1976. Go to johnsewer.com. My name is Adam 12 on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Next update in about 30 minutes.
Listen to it, laugh at it, get mad at it, agree with it, argue about it. It is Boston Sports. Boston Sports. And it is all we do. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
I know. No, you don't know.
Everyone agrees that I'm the only one who's not wrong.
Right or wrong, they're back. Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
We got into high school sports with Bert, but Pay to Come's playing. And by the way, a new Bad Brains live album being released, archival, just discovered. And it was on, okay, this was interesting to me, and it's the day before Thanksgiving, so everyone's going to have to listen. So yesterday on 2 days ago on local Washington, D.C. television, not NPR, but like Channel 5, right? Like an ABC affiliate or something, had a news story featuring the bassist of the Bad Brains about this live album that has been discovered from a DC show in 1980. Who cares? Well, here's the thing, is that was the Band in DC tour, because they were literally, that was like the last show that they could play in the District of Columbia, because they were considered a public nuisance and a violent act of like basically terrorism. So not because of lyrics, but because of the behavior at the shows. My point being this, in 1980, 81, that band was like ostensibly banned by the government of the city of DC to play. Now, in 2025, there is a news story on local television on a real network about a show from that era being released by like a local company that forged the thing. So my point was what I made with Ice Cube, which is very interesting, and to remember this as you go about your business, that the people doing the banning are never the heroes of the story. The people being banned are generally the heroes of the story.
Correct.
So the and look, the Bad Brains wish they had a more normal lead singer, and they had an opportunity to be a much bigger band, and they had a Maniac as lead singer, and all these things go as they go. But just in your lifetime, these people like that Kramer from Seinfeld. No, Kramer. What did he do wrong? No, the guy Kramer from Wayne Kramer from
Jim
the MC5.
Kramer.
Wayne Kramer from the MC5. I'm doing that book, and like the amount of shenanigans going around in Detroit at that time, and none of those guys came out smelling good. Like the people that were leading these like illegal investigations and stuff into the White Panther movement or whatever. Like, it's not like now, 50 years from now, we're all going like, well done. Like, you did real well for the city of Detroit. That was great stuff that you were doing.
Yeah.
There's a way that history goes
Chris
in
Forsberg,
Western civilization.
You ever been banned from anything?
Ooh.
We know you haven't.
Thank you for bringing me into the conversation.
No, but like,
now
I'm fascinated too. Why 45 years to release a live album? Was it
because they had not, like, I guess it was like found archival things that they had found.
How cool must that be, though?
Well, that was the thing, is why. But it just, to me, I was like, what is this? Is this just some podcast guy doing this because it was on my YouTube feed? And I'm like, no, this is like a real news station in Washington, D.C. And I'm like, This is a band that you guys didn't want in town, that were forced to move to New York City because you moved this black hardcore band out of Washington, D.C. because you thought that they were a public nuisance. And now a show from that era is being celebrated and deemed newsworthy. It just was interesting to me.
Have you been banned anywhere?
Like from bars and stuff.
Yeah, I've been kicked out of plenty.
Like photo on the wall, do not let this man in.
And I go,
there may be one. There may be one in Las Vegas where I don't think I can go in.
Yeah, I go, look in the mirror, fella. You're the one perpetrating this.
Yeah, and I'm a hero.
Yeah, you're supplying this to me.
I'm a hero. I can't even remember the name of that place.
And of course, I'm talking about
tragic.
non-illegal activity. I'm talking about like more from like what the message was considered this like taboo. And we talked about it with Ice Cube. Like the FBI was investigating NWA, and now he's throwing the first pitch out at Dodger games. 30 years later, it's like it's interesting how that all works out.
Life comes at you fast.
Well, it's never the person going like, investigate. I don't like what they're saying that comes out as the hero of the story. Like,
I don't know, like Joe McCarthy, he's all right.
Right, yeah.
He's onto something.
And the fella from the FBI back then.
Hoover, yeah.
Like, everything's coming out roses about him.
Yeah.
And everyone he investigated is a real criminal now.
Yes.
It always seems ridiculous.
Just proved your whole theory with those two fine Americans.
Well, listen, I mean, the Roy Cohn, the lawyer for Donald Trump when he was in the 80s, who was part of the McCarthy Commission, has come out. Everything about his personal life and everything is just on point. Chris is brought to you by Jordan's Furniture. Experience the magic at the Enchanted Village. Your favorite attractions are back, Christopher.
Blueberry muffins.
Including the famous blueberry muffins.
Oh.
Now open at Jordan's.
That's because Wallach's not here.
Jordan's Furniture. Do you love those muffins?
Blueberry muffins.
Now open at Jordan's Furniture in Avon,
Hell
which
yeah.
Is Wallach banned? Like, what's the deal? Why does he get a day off?
Because he takes days off for no reason. And I've been ridiculed for the times that I take days off, but at least there is a reason which may not be deemed appropriate by the people, but at least there's a reason.
Is like baking? Like what does he do?
I don't know,
well, he
Chris.
is a foodie.
Like, I don't know, especially why the day leading into Thanksgiving do you take off? We have 3 in-studio guests today. And what does he have to do anyway?
Cookies.
Oh, shut up. Other than getting up and getting out of the house. Yeah, listen to this, idiot. Listen to this guy.
Warm chocolate chip cookies.
Oh, shut up. I mean, how can you not want to strangle him for that?
Port 12's got.
What the hell are we talking about? Warm chocolate chip cookies, even. What were we talking? I was talking about something, and then he turned it into the focusing on the chocolate chip cookies.
I do cook.
I don't remember what it is now.
Everything about it was annoying.
You were very upset that
I was upset about something.
About desserts. You didn't like that he talked about desserts.
Well, no, it wasn't in context of talking about desserts. It was like
no.
It was some kind of like aside from something I was discussing that was of great importance to me, and he focused on the stupid cookie. Just like
I eat different kinds of foods.
Since he's not here, let's
cooking, preparing foods.
I wouldn't have gotten in trouble for the Tebow thing if it wasn't for him. Let's just get that on the table right now. It's never been discussed. I said something, and Hardy can attest to this. I said something on the radio, and he goes, "Whoa!" Like, I can't believe you said that. And you're like, "Oh, great." Well, now you pointed that out. Like even since I've been working with Hardy, like Hardy said something, like I went, "Oh, that could be misconstrued." So my instinct is to protect my friend and coworker by moving on.
You don't acknowledge it.
You don't acknowledge it, and you move on.
He threw flags up and was like, "Look at this."
He stopped the presses. Bert was in for that. It was me, Wallach, and Bert, and it was before a holiday. It was around the draft. Something was going on. It was me, Wallach, and Bert. And, the show was in its infancy at the Sports Hub. And so there was a lot of pressure on me to create content, especially with that deadweight Wallach. So we were talking about the Tebow draft, and I was talking about, making light of the draft party. And I said a line that wasn't even funny, but it was certainly not offensive. And but it was right after the Imus thing. So it was like Imus got canceled in quotation. So it was like, well, if he got canceled for that,
right,
the negative print of that would be what Fred said, which I understood. And but then it became kind of like a 2-day political thing of but the CNN was very tough on me. very tough on me. There was a drunk driving guy that killed a guy drunk driving or something that was an anchor at the time, and he was all over it. He did not like that.
Don't worry about them. They're fake news. Terrible.
Good thing
Well, everything they said was true, but it was not in my favor. I'll tell you that. And that was when I had to have my dad start defining words for me, because I was like, they're calling me Moonbat. I'm like,
oh, it's a terrible thing.
And I'm
to be
like,
called.
and I actually, no one I knew what it meant.
Well, yeah, no one you know reads Howie Carr.
Exactly. So I had to go to my father, and I'm like, because my dad's like, was getting a kick out of it. He's like, they're killing you, like on Fox News, and I'm like, and he was like loving it because he knew that it was nothing, and I'm like, I was never gonna get in trouble, like, right? I couldn't. I'm white, like, and I was making fun of a white guy, like, it doesn't, like, black people can say the N-word. I can make fun of Tim Tebow. I'm a white Christian. I'm allowed, but and it was nothing like overly, like, it wasn't about his politics or anything. And so my dad was like, I'm like, what does Moonbat mean? I'm like, is that bad? Because I figured that maybe Fox News was supporting me because of the whole free speech thing, and they were not. And so and he was like, no, Moonbat's very bad. In not used, not in the vernacular. I don't consume an awful lot of cable news.
No, not so much. Not so much Moonbats. You don't hear firefighters referred to as Jakes too often, but if you're coming across Jakes or Moonbat, you're reading the Boston Herald.
Did you grow up here, Chris? Did you grow up in Massachusetts?
Yeah.
Okay, so Rucker, who just texted me because, of course, I mentioned the bad brains and the light goes on in his head, but he gave me a book when I first moved here, and it was a Howie Carr book about Whitey Bulger, and I respect Howie Carr's reporting on that, and he put himself in danger and all these things, but I started reading this book. He gave it to me. And I'm like, I can't make out one word of what this guy's saying. It's like in Boston code. Yeah, exactly. It was like in like some language that I was completely unfamiliar with because I didn't grow up here. So I
wonder if you went
lost.
back now, you'd be like, oh, it just like it rolls right. It just everything would be processed immediately, but you did need that.
No, and it's not his fault. It's my fault. But no, I think even if I read it now, I'd be like, I have no idea what he's talking about.
Fred has not immersed himself in the culture. He puts up a wall, and it just stays.
Well, I would. When was the last time you met someone that was born in the last 10 years, 15 years with a Boston accent? I mean, the internet is taking all these regional things away, my friend.
That's no fun.
We've become much more of a vanilla society. What it is, it's the Russian bots. That's what it is. All right, Chris, how you doing?
I'm good. What do you think? Wallach hates the traffic? I'm just so fascinated by this.
Was the traffic bad coming in?
No, it was the easiest day of the year.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what his deal is.
You took the day off. You wanted to sleep in and just relax. Take it easy.
Not frowned upon to extend the already shortened week?
No. What?
Okay.
No, if you were going somewhere, you'd be like, okay. But it's just like a random kind of weird day. Because like once we're done, we're done. Because Sundays are a work day because you have to prepare for Monday's show.
Right.
You don't have to get up in the morning, but like
yeah, you gotta
as days go, like right when this is over today, like I'm gone, and then I'm on an airplane, and it's like this show never happened. You know,
kind of hurtful, but okay.
Well, baby, that's the live radio. That's the whole point,
It's
man.
out in the ether. It's gone.
Yeah, we're all existing in a moment, Chris. That doesn't belittle anything.
Look,
let's investigate, Hardy. You tell him what time it is. He took something the wrong way. You tell him.
No. What you got to think of this is, and this borrows from Conan O'Brien, we are in the disposable pen business. We're gonna make you a really good pen that you can use today, and you get done writing with it, you throw it away. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not out to make a Mont Blanc. You're not out to make a cross. A pen that will work for today and tomorrow. You grab a new one out of the pack and you use that one.
And Chris, when you go see a live show, they go put the phones in a pouch. It's just you and that artist. And, baby, we're existing right now. And once it's over, it's over.
When you're on the 90s cruise, if someone said you had to put your phone in your pocket, would you be okay with that?
I'm not bringing my phone out there in international waters because all bets are off, baby. I'm going to go nuts.
That falls in the water, the wrong guy finds it. Epstein files. Now I've just given a bunch of moonbats, Russian bots, and Epstein files. I've thrown them all in, baby. Let's get to break.
If Wallach was here, he'd be like, whoa!
Exactly. What'd you say about him?
Scampi.
What are your interests outside of sports?
Foodie?
Do you like food?
Yes. Matter of fact.
No brain. Can't think. Boring. This is what you get for not coming in today. All right, Chris Forsberg. Let's be honest. There's only one break's worth of Celtics to do, and we'll do it next. We'll be back in 1 minute. You should hear the conversation that these two are having in here. They're hitting all the high notes. Chris Forsberg from NBC Sports Boston and Hardy.
Golf and more golf in there today?
No. Wives and minor landscaping.
Oh, you think it's minor that Chris Forsberg is expanding his driveway and parking area at his home? By the way, you need permits for any of this.
If we do, I'm going to need you to keep it on the low.
All right.
All right, Wallach. You just pulled a Wallach there. You just threw the fuzz at him. You told the man.
The crux of the issue is we've been playing car Tetris. My daughter is about to get her license. We're going to have 3 cars in what is a long single lane driveway. For whatever reason, I live out in the middle of nowhere, and the entire neighborhood is built with single lane driveways, which makes no sense because like every other
some
driveway
quaint New England nonsense.
Yeah,
but
like having to keep a barn up. Look at this
So-
barn's old.
Carriage
You can't tear the barn down. Why? It's old.
It's a historical carriage house.
But it's my house. No. If I drive by it, I want to see that barn. That's my barn. It's part of the community.
Luckily, we have no one in our neighborhood is going to call the.
Yeah, they're all here illegally.
But I had to remove a bush, and it was a matter of contention. And I understand my wife's point.
But you should have heard these two. They were having quite a chinwag about this whole thing. I even had to come in with crude comments to spice some things up because I was getting bored.
That was very Zolak-esque, that comment you threw in
I heard
there.
Bush. So I had to get crude.
You said that.
No, you said you were removing. No, I
said
said
it.
it. Yeah, you're right. I said it.
Then you took it.
I'm the only man in here. I'm thinking about ladies. Ryan says we were talking about. Hang on one second.
Go for it.
Enough of that. People saying why Wallach is out. Wallach is at. This is from Ryan from Franklin. Wallach is at the White House today getting pardoned.
Yeah, I saw
for Thanksgiving. That's why he's out. You silly gooses. That might be very, very true. Tim, who emails all the time, says, I miss Wallach. Adam stated that he wasn't able to balance playing new intro music with doing the headlines, and he isn't really even doing a great job reading the headlines.
Oh, geez.
It makes me long for Jazz Wallach. Wow. I hope this is just a prompt to get me to do Jazz Wallach, but I hope he's resting up for the 72 hours leading up to the Bruins game. But he's got a little something on his plate today because there is a team that can't lose coming to town, my friend. Even though the ESPN matchup predictor has the Celtics with a 53% chance of winning, Las Vegas argues the Pistons riding a 45-game winning streak, 17 of those against Indiana. I've been watching the Pistons this season. I do enjoy them.
You're not sticking around for the game?
I'm going to be in Detroit. I'm going to be at Little Caesars Arena tonight. Because I would much rather see the Pistons than the Red Wings. I could care less about the Red Wings. But I'm going because it's something to do.
I love this Pistons team.
They're a very physical team.
5:00 tip tonight.
Yeah.
You got an early one.
That snuck up on me. Maybe didn't plan the tea time right today.
Did you see any of that Philadelphia-Orlando game just because it happened to be on television last night?
The 40-point blowout?
Well, there was a time where Andre Drummond put his dukes up.
Yeah.
Oh.
And it was funny because he put his dukes up, which was great because it was like he had his hand on whatever from Orlando. Who cares? And he kept moving his hand. And then finally they kind of like bumped up against each other. And then Drummond just puts his dukes up. And that ended everything. And then Suggs from Orlando comes up and goes, yay! To Drummond. And then Drummond starts laughing. They break it up. The game stops for 45 minutes. And then they announce that Suggs gets 2 technicals, so he's out.
Right.
And then everyone shoots free throws for 3 hours, and then they get back to the blowout.
Every time I see Drummond's name pop up, I'm like, oh, yeah, he's still playing. He's still pulling down like 20 rebounds a game.
Yeah, shooting 2%
If he was a free
field.
agent right now, he would have been signed by the Celtics like 3 days ago because they are so desperate right now.
He's playing a lot for Philadelphia. I mean, he's playing a lot.
No, like he's still a serviceable guy. Like everyone laughs because everyone hacks him and he's terrible at free throws. But in general, like he's an amazing rebounder. He does really legitimately gobble up rebounds. So
yeah.
In a blowout, he played 22 minutes. He starts for Philadelphia.
Well, Embiid's never out there, so plenty of minutes.
Yeah. All right. So, but this is an interesting game. It is, as regular season games go. It's an interesting game because
it's an interesting stretch, Fred.
It's a 15-2 team coming to town who is trying in every game. They even when they don't have their star players, they're winning. And so this is an early season test. Do you think the Celtics take this seriously.
Yes, of course. This whole stretch. So they got 7 games in 12 nights, another 5 and 7 and crammed in the middle there.
It's an NBA Cup game.
Well, yeah, but no one cares about that.
Oh, they certainly do.
Well, maybe the Pistons do. I don't know what their feelings about that are. But what's crazy to me is, one, rewind 2 years ago, 23, and the Pistons were coming in with a 28-game losing streak. And Celtics needed overtime to win that game. And now 2 years later, talk about life coming at you fast, all of a sudden now they're going for a franchise record 14 straight wins. And it is. It'll be good for the Celtics to get that test of, okay, there's been some better things happening in the last, let's say, 7 games. I think they won 5 out of 7, let 2 games get away. But you don't have Kata. What does it look like? And do the Celtics have typically played better against better opponents? I'm interested to see their compete level.
And it's a very physical Pistons team that's not a wonderful shooting team. How is a team like that, like if they were to match up in the playoffs as currently constructed, like how does that go down? If I'm watching it tonight, what am I looking for? Because
is Kata healthy in the playoffs?
Well, without him tonight, it would seem like that's a major disadvantage because
it's daunting.
If you're putting Luka Garza out and you're going go up against Duran, what are you gonna? That's a large human being who is going to be an all-star. I'm just thinking is how they match up in the East. If this is a barometer of where they stand in the East, the Pistons are a team on the come, but they weren't supposed to be like the elite team in the East. They are so far, but whatever. They played Indiana.
But I actually thought they would be, because I thought Cleveland would take its foot off the accelerator a little bit. They've got to focus on how do they be the best version of themselves in the playoffs. I think Detroit is still trying to send a message to the rest of the league of, okay, we're here. We're something. And sometimes that's counterproductive. Like sometimes you're just going to navigate the regular season and be ready. Clearly they weren't ready for the moment last year. They played the Knicks well, but to let that series get away when they should have advanced. And now it's a chance of, okay, they've taken another step. They're one of the elite. But even a game like this, I think they'll be fired up to come into Boston. I know it looks different, and no Tatum and no Kata, and everyone will say, well, it's, what can they show against a team like that? But it's still a team that's been there and a team that is going to be there eventually when things start lining up. And so I am fascinated to see how this one plays out. Celtics, on paper, it looks like a terrible, terrible matchup because of how good the Pistons are inside and the problems they can cause. And you got to be fearful of, I just don't know what the answer is for the Celtics. Do you throw Boucher out there? He's barely played.
Who's Boucher?
Chris Boucher.
Did you know, Hardy, who Boucher was?
No, I was hoping you were going to drop Minot on me.
Well, so I do think they're going to go small.
I know Minot.
I think more often than not, they will go small with Minot and with the starting group. But yeah, there's no great answer against a team with size. But you look at the schedule, I think they got the Knicks, Cleveland, Detroit, and there's one other team, Toronto. So 4 of the top teams in the Eastern Conference over the next 12 days. So we'll find out. And then there's the Lakers and Timberwolves in there too. So
a team
Jaden Ivey playing tonight, it looks like.
Really?
Yeah, that's it. I can read it to you. Jaden Ivey, who's a good player on the Pistons who hasn't played this year.
So if Detroit comes in here tonight and they just continue, playing the way they've been playing without taking and making a lot of threes, which is counter to what a lot of the league does, and especially what the Celtics have been doing here in a couple of years, of the last couple of years. Does that do anything to make you think about, or it's not going to make Mazzulla change his mind? I have no illusions about that, but there are teams out there right now, the Pistons chief among them, who are not falling into this, no, you got to just shoot nothing but threes, and that's how you win all your games.
Hardy, have you not been watching the mid-range Celtics? It's all we do is live in the mid-range now. Jalen, Peyton Pritchard's thriving.
Are there 3 numbers down?
The 3 numbers are down in the last probably 10 games.
Dramatically?
10 games.
Not
okay, I was going to say, how many games?
No, it's a fair sample here. Look, as I tell you guys every time, I don't get worked up about the threes because their roster is built to maximize the 3. They have been better, probably identifying when Derek and Peyton have not been shooting the ball well, although Peyton's kind of getting there.
It's funny. The game I went to, and this shows my depth of knowledge, but the game I went to was the Clipper game. And Peyton Pritchard,
not a good game.
That was they covered. I think it was the Clippers. They covered. Harden's on the Clippers, right?
Yeah, that was a good game.
That was a good game. And Pritchard could not miss in the first half.
Right.
And then they just went completely away from him in the second half.
They lost their mind that second half. Yeah. And to your point, Hardy, that's the point where they got to be better about getting to the mid-range or generating offense in a different way. And I do think they've been better at that. The offensive numbers are not my concern. They're a top 5 offense in the NBA
Okay,
right now.
and just one more thing on that, because the roster, you say it's optimized for the three. I think it was, especially when you had Tatum out there playing and he had Porzingis.
Fair.
I think that's what you're left with now. I think those are two different things to say that they built it this way, or did they put together a roster and say, "Oh, this is what we're going to be able to do"?
Yeah, I think
there's two different. Those are two different things.
I'll subscribe to that. I think you're not as equipped. There's not especially without a stretch 5 out there.
Yeah.
To maximize your 3-point attempts, but I do think they've start of the year. I thought they were a little 3 happy, and they've gotten better.
Okay.
Jalen. Part of the reason Jalen's been so good is because he's lived in that mid range. Peyton, when he didn't have the 3-point shot working, would get there. They still got to be better at the rim. I'd be interested to know what their rim numbers are. Anecdotally, I'd say they're not great. But that's part of it is because they don't have size. And so they've just got to figure that out right now, especially if Kata misses any substantial time.
It's interesting because you mentioned the winning streak being a negative, and I think it might have been for Cleveland when they were,
it started last year.
Yeah, and so I'm wondering, if this, because obviously when you have a streak like this going, and the Pistons franchise that's had eras where it was very good, and you go wow, we're about to have the longest winning streak. That's obviously playing on your mind.
Do you have the spread in front of you? I'm just curious if
it's all over the place. Detroit -2.5 is what I'm seeing here, but then I looked
Isn't
at
that
it.
Crazy though, right? Just think about it. The Celtics don't have their starting center, the area that is most exploitable by Detroit. And even if you're giving them credit for being at home and all that, there's no rest advantage. I don't know. It does.
You think, Hardy, that's because Boston's so heavily influenced, on a regular season game, like a Wednesday game before Thanksgiving where everyone's paying attention?
It's hard to believe that in this day and age, people don't know what's going on with the Pistons and that they're going to fall victim to,
it's 2.5.
Celtics. I'm going to bet the Celtics if they're playing the Pistons.
Right.
If you're putting even $1 down,
the line moved a point.
You should know something about what's going on. I'm seeing 2.5 too.
Yeah, because it was 3.5 and then it moved down. So I do think, Chris, a lot of it might be people are, Boston fans. Boston fans are coming home and they go, "Oh, right, I love the Celtics because I'm from here." And they're playing the Pistons, who are the Pistons, and I recall them not being great.
Yeah, and I don't like them.
So I'm going to bet the Celtics. Because you would think the Pistons win this game fairly handily tonight. You would today.
If you simulated the game 100 times, I think you would get a lot more lopsided Detroit wins than you would get maybe narrow Celtics victories.
All right, I'm betting the Pistons right now. I've convinced myself. So there you go.
But it does make you think.
You have $100
I do think, in general, the Celtics, this stretch will. I hate to it's a little bit of hyperbole to say this is a defining stretch in the season, because so much of it is more take a step back and what are you building towards, and yet 9-8, up and down a little bit, good stretches, bad stretches. What are they? I have no idea. They've been way too inconsistent to have an identity. But this stretch where they have to be a little bit more laser focused and against good competition, just eager to see how it looks.
I'll tell you, I don't think it's hyperbole, because if you look at this game, it's against a team that is playing. They're going to play like a mini playoff game today, like the Pistons with this streak and the stupid cup and everything. And this is a team that was supposed to be, according to a lot of people, around your level, right? The Pistons were supposed to challenge in the East, but not be one of the favorites. They were a mid-level playoff pack team, which is what basically the Celtics were. And now this is a team that's got a franchise winning streak. They come in and you beat them as November games go. That's a pretty good win and a pretty good testament of what you're capable of. Right, you're not going to win a championship, but what you're capable of. You come in, the Pistons blow you out. Then the debate becomes, do you even want to make the play-in tournament, this and that?
We're all going to overreact no matter how it tips, right? My fear is that, so tonight's a tough game. Friday is the start of the 5 and 7. So you play Minnesota on the road, then you have the second night of a back-to-back on the road, New York, middle of the week next week, then finally like a small reprieve against Washington, but then the Lakers in a rivalry game here the day after. And like 5 and 7s are always tough, and there's always like a built-in schedule loss. Like if things go awry, all of a sudden that it is. You guys will be on here, and we'll be on here next week, and we're saying, should the Celtics be posturing for a lottery spot? And I don't know. Is it going to change the conversation around the team one way or another? Probably. And I just hope, because I think this team, I'll remain steadfast. They're good. Like, they're better than people think, but the margin is slimmer, and especially when you don't have your starting center. And I just want to see what it looks like.
All right. Well, Chris Forsberg, you're off. You're staying in town, I would imagine. You're not going to.
I've got to grind, Fred. 7 games in 12 days. There's no breaks. No such thing as holidays.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, thank you for coming in, buddy.
Coming in, you're going to head back out, and you're going to come back in.
Yep.
Nice.
That's what I do.
I like it.
Wallach, scared of the roads. Me, that's where I live.
Well, listen, he usually is high above them, so I can tell you this.
Hey, I heard there's a fun segment coming up next.
Oh, yeah.
Any money?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's again, it's an Adam thing, so we're gonna get to something that Adam.
Oh, is that why he was excited?
It's a tradition. It's a show tradition.
Well,
it's the money man.
He built. I know, but he built it as like that. You guys were very excited about this, and maybe he was.
Well, by you guys, I meant me.
I mean,
I misunderstood.
He's basically going, "Hey, monkey, do what I like." Like, hey, idiot, like, go do the thing I like for a little while.
So this is why he was willing to do the headlines today, because he got his little.
Adam's perfectly capable of doing the headlines. He's a professional broadcaster. I mean, his resume is better than Wallach's, and that's not a joke. I mean, it is. If you were looking at radio resumes, he has a better radio resume than Wallach. But nonetheless, this is like, hey, monkey, go do the little thing I like.
Right. Yeah.
With no context and nothing else. Just do the thing. So look,
a normal show.
So he can be a listener for 10 minutes.
I'm not ultra motivated to do this for no reason, but yes, Eddie Money, who's now dead, did a radio show, and we've created a character, and it ended up being
the actual guy
who he really is. So, well, I mean, to an extreme, a bit of an extreme, but nonetheless. So we can revisit Eddie Money Thanksgiving coming up in just a moment.
Essential Sports Hub headlines.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I need some cash. Things have been tight. I tried to sue the grocery store for slipping on some soup, but the judge says I couldn't represent myself because I threw up when he asked me to stand. What does he expect someone to do after they downed half a bottle of rubbing alcohol? I was nervous. The damn record company says I don't own the rights to my music, even though I wrote it, so I switched some things around. Here are some of my greatest hits. Let's start shaking like we just woke up. I was shaking. Whoa. Oh, I threw my back out. Whoa. Now I can't pay child support. I shake a lot. This song's like finding day-old bread in a dumpster. Allow Mr. Money to take you on a journey, a flight of fancy. What the hell happened to me? I woke up in a tree. My pants are filled with pee. I drank turpentine. Let's go back to a simpler time when I fell in love with a prostitute in Omaha. There's a surprise, especially for you. Yeah. Something that both of us need to get on through. You sit on the curb. You sit on the curb. Just sit on the curb. Just sit on the curb. I got 2 bottles of model glue. Grab some bags and let's huff tonight. I've got 2 bottles of model glue. Let's get high and eat the shoe. If you boil it, it's just like meat. Ho, ho. I heard you can sing old songs and not have to pay. So here's a Money Man family Christmas favorite. I got stabbed in the eye with a pencil. Just because I stole my cellmate's small. They threw me in for no reason. All right, people, you heard all the hits. Now buy the record. I got bills up the ass. Give the Money Man a break. I don't got this stuff online. You can buy it on a cassette. I'm driving my van around, so find the van, buy the tape. Help me out.
Eddie Money did a radio show, in quotations, in Atlanta. And our friend Crash sent us tape of actual Eddie Money radio that he had put on the air. And here is his thoughts on Thanksgiving. This is the real Eddie Money, if you would, sir.
Take it away, Hardy, whenever you're ready.
Oh,
yes.
Okay. Sorry.
You've got your board is up. You've got all the clips.
On the Thanksgiving, all right.
Dealer's choice.
Now, if you're going to go out to those madhouse malls, everybody, wear your seatbelt and calm down. We got plenty of things on sale. This is Money in the Mornings, Eddie Money right here. Where else, baby? 97.1 The River, Atlantic's classic.
Yeah, he put a lot of thought into it.
Santa knows if you've been naughty or nice.
Okay, I interrupted it. That's exactly how it ended. Is play the clip again.
Okay.
This is the. I'm sorry, I interrupted it.
There's like 2 seconds.
Yeah,
of
there's.
silence
Excuse me for not remembering, but yes, this is how it aired in Atlanta.
Now, if you're going to go out to those madhouse malls, everybody, wear your seatbelt and calm down. We got plenty of things on sale. This is Money in the Mornings, Eddie Money right here. Where else, baby? 97.1 The River, Atlantic's classic.
Santa knows if you've been naughty
so,
or nice.
not a. I think he might have taped it. That's. I don't want to. I don't want to leave myself up for any kind of. Just any of the holiday ones, Hardy. This is Adam's request. Any of the holiday ones. These are
97.1 The River. It's really crazy out there. The holidays, everybody's shopping. Make sure you got a seatbelt on. It's a nutty time of the year, but hey, it's a fantastic part of the year. Hey, Paula. Don't bum us out, but what's happening out there with traffic?
Thanks, Eddie. We continue to have foggy conditions and low visibility.
I don't know if she's like sitting right there next to him. I think maybe she was just taking the cue from, like you said, a recording.
It's
maybe.
like someone put a calendar in front of him, and he's like, he's obsessed with his seatbelt. Wear your seatbelt. Listen, look at my face. Wear your seatbelt, especially if you're on peyote, because some of that stuff ain't there. And some of the stuff is there, and you can't see it. Look at that fluffy cloud I'm driving into. Whoopsies, that's a kid.
Paula,
be my eyes. Paula, I'll work the pedals, you work the wheel.
This is the Money Man, Eddie Money, and this is Money in the Mornings right here on 97.1, The River. How's the traffic looking this morning? Here's a look at your commute to work, huh? 85, 75, I-20. No matter where you're at, we're going to look at it for you, man. We got the traffic right here.
Thanks,
Local.
Eddie. Let's talk about the.
I'm local. Highways.
We got all the roads.
Numbers. Wherever you're hitching.
Hey, Paula, don't bump us out.
Paula, don't bum me out. Put your thumb up. I'm in the bushes. I'll pop out. They're going to pick you up. Guess what? We're a tandem. You thought you were picking up a girl. Paula, show some leg.
Wear your seatbelt.
Paula, we're not going to get to Albuquerque without you thumbing.
Sit down and have a big old meal.
That's right. Put your can of beans. Share it with everyone on the train.
Elton John's fantastic, man. He must have practiced a lot when he was a kid. This is Eddie Money, and this is...
He's coming out of Billy Squire.
Get savings you won't believe on our top European appliances.
Hold on, we got to hear it again. It's so good. There's two things going on, and then it just stops.
Elton John's fantastic, man. He must have practiced a lot when he was a kid. This is Eddie Money, and this is...
Get savings you won't believe on our top Whirlpool appliances.
Good break.
Wasn't the best. Kind of a JV operation.
Money well spent.
Maybe should have seen at that point radio wasn't going so good.
Yeah.
Let's get Eddie Money and have him do nothing. Very good.
This is 97.1, The River. I'm the Money Man, Eddie Money. You want to rush, babe? It's right here. Spirit of Radio. Where else? 97.1, The River. Rush.
Play the tone. Kick it in the... You can't talk over that part. I love talking over dead air.
We got one to take us out here.
Man, I gotta go. What a great show. Thanks so much for all the great calls. We got Katie Kylie right here. The best rock and roll in the world, baby. Atlanta, we got you right here. 97.1 The River.
Hey, it's Clapper, and it's time for another edition of This Week in Rock History.
It's not
gobble,
good.
gobble, gobble. This is the Money Man.
For Crash to notice that while he was doing stuff oh my God, this is bad. Very good. Well, if you like the Patriots, fear not. We will talk about them or Phil Perry will talk about the Patriots coming up in just a matter of moments.
Brandon Clark. Gray waived his no-trade clause, so he wants to be here, which is always a good thing. And St. Louis is paying $20 million of Gray's 2026 contract, which is also a good thing. Over to the Patriots. Tackle Thaler Munford has been signed to the active roster with guard Bill Murray back on the practice squad. Cornerback Alex Austin has been placed on the IR to make room for Munford. Thanksgiving Eve sports. The Bruins are in New York tonight, facing off against the Islanders. Pregame at 6:30, puck drop at 7 with Ryan Johnston and Bob Beers here on 98.5 The Sports Hub and the Sports Hub app if you're on the road. The Celtics are at TD Garden tonight hosting the Detroit Pistons in Game 4 of group play for the NBA Cup. Pregame with Grandy and Max gets underway at 4:30 with tip-off at 5 on our sister station 105.7 WROR. Last night, this year's slate of Thanksgiving high school football rivalry games kicked off at Fenway Park. My hometown Wakefield Warriors waxed the Melrose Redhawks 20-9. Action continues at Fenway today with Newton North and Brookline at 1:30, Plymouth South and Plymouth North at 4, and Lexington and Concord Carlisle finishing the slate at 6:30. Sports Up headlines brought to you by John Sewer and Drain Cleaning, 24-hour on-call service for your clogged drain emergencies. Go to johnsewer.com. My name is Adam 12 on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Next update, just about 30 minutes.
Azaka got knocked down. Here's McAvoy bringing back out toward the blue line. 10 seconds to go. McAvoy down the right circle. Trying to get it in front. They score! Pavel Zacha with the game winner. And the Bruins win it in overtime, 3-2.
Every Bruins game on 98.5 The Sports Hub and the Sports Hub app. When it comes to the show, Hardy thinks the same way you do.
Nothing happened.
He's got the same questions.
Where is the story?
And the same opinions.
Boring.
And he's back with Fred.
Sports Boston franchise, who Chris Forsberg, they might have even crossed paths in the halls, as this is a parade of guests today. As Burt Breer was in studio for an hour, Forsberg was in studio for 40 minutes, and now Phil will be in studio for 2 of these breaks. It's very exciting. Phil, thank you for joining us.
I'm very excited to be here. I missed Forsberg on the way out, and he'll give you a high five, like an aggressive high five. I don't think it matters the time of day.
Does he have I was surprised he wasn't in here when I came back in. Does he have his version of a mohawk right now? He
kind of always does, doesn't he?
Yeah. He's got a whole thing going on with the hair. It's
I don't know if it's fully coiffed at this hour.
So do you remember, like,
Celtics pre and post game? It's on point.
Like in 1983, like if a TV show did an episode on punks, they would have like this. mohawk.
The punk episode is famous.
Like they would have like that mohawk that's like not only the top but also like the bottom too, which like no punk guy ever had except for the dude from The Exploited, like that Liberty Spikes Appleseed thing, like But it's like his version of it.
Not the full faux hawk, but yeah, we're gonna make this kid look punky without ruining him.
Right, like but it went down the back too, like so like a
he's
normal
got an ABC
mohawk.
movie of the week next week, and we can't screw him up.
Right, like a normal mohawk would be shaved everywhere except for the very top, which would be kind of like a short mohawk. But the Mr. T one had the line, so that's not even a good example. But this is like all the way down.
Yeah.
So but like the whole width of the head too.
Would you call what Chris has a faux hawk?
No, because
Okay.
it goes down the back too. Like it's not dissimilar to like your hair if you shaved it all the way down in the back except for that strip. Like so, it's yes. It's something like that. I forgot to bring it up, but it was bugging me. We'll have to get to that next time.
Well, had you brought it up, he would have gone into that insufferable soliloquy about his barber. You remember when he was wearing the barbershop hoodie in here the first couple of trips in?
No, I don't, because I obviously blocked it out or was not paying much attention when that was going on. All right, Phil, we've talked about this ad nauseum, but it's the big news going in, and you're playing a team on Monday night that has conceivably a good pass rush. Obviously, what's on everyone's mind is the injuries. Are you hearing anything new about the 2 offensive line injuries?
Just that it will take some time here. And so, the fact that they made roster moves yesterday, and Will Campbell didn't end up on IR, I don't think we should necessarily glean from that, then he'll be back within the 4 weeks, because if he wasn't the one to go on IR, then they must feel as though he can get back sooner than that. I think there's maybe a chance of that happening. And so by not putting him on IR yet, and I guess, moves still could come down depending on how he feels and what kind of pictures they have and all of that. I think it just leaves open the possibility that if for some reason it does feel like within 3 weeks you could get him back and you'd like to have him out there, well, now at least you have the opportunity to do that. So with both guys, I think it's going to be a little while. And so you're going to have to lean on Josh McDaniels and Drake May to get you through. And I point out both of those guys because there are things McDaniels can do schematically to help the offensive line.
Let's talk about that for a second
yeah,
because go ahead. You're going to say the same thing.
I'm going to say we were talking to Bert about this earlier. Yeah, there are things they can do, but it's just resource allocation. And you're taking away guys, whether it's going to be Hunter Henry probably isn't your best option, but he's going to be called into service, whether you're using tight ends or backs or receivers. All you're doing is taking away options for Drake May, and you're almost certainly going to have to do something like that. So schematically, what can he do that's not going to hamstring Drake May's options and weapons?
Well, you're right.
Hunter Henry had the career game on Sunday, and if you have to use him to block, is that going to hamstring May a little bit?
It could, right? Your choices are basically, do you keep extra bodies into block and hope that Drake May has enough time in the pocket to find the maybe it's only two receivers out in the route,
Diggs
right?
or Douglas,
and your options are very limited then. And if the coverage is right, if their scheme guess is right going into that down, maybe you're screwed before the ball's even snapped to some degree. Or do you say, let's let everybody get out into the route? Let's leave Vidarian Lowe on an island, but the plan will be we'll get the ball out so quickly because we have 5 options to throw to that they won't be able to get into the backfield quickly enough to hit Drake May. So those are really your two options. It's a math game. And so there are things you can do in terms of just, I think, mixing it up that Josh McDaniels will be in control of. I think Drake May is going to have to, in some ways, though, be his own best protection. And that would require some change on his part in terms of his style of play. Because right now, he's a big game hunter. He's one of the most explosive in terms of generating explosive plays, explosive quarterbacks in the NFL. But I found an interesting number. This is from Sumer Sports, which is an analytics outfit. May ranks 36th out of 41 qualifying quarterbacks when it comes to his quick game rate. So how quickly are you getting the football out in 2.5 seconds or less? That would qualify as quick. He's 36th out of 41 quarterbacks, and I don't think it's because he can't get the football out quickly. He's actually a pretty quick processor is what it looks like. I think he just doesn't want to. He wants to hold on to that thing. He wants to extend behind the line. He wants to move around. He wants to escape. He wants to allow players to run down the field so he can hit them with those deep passes, which he's been great at. But
2.5 seconds, too, is a healthy amount of time. Like, if you drop that down to 2 seconds even, I don't think he's going to fare any better. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's
for some reason the point of delineation for all of these sites. Like a pass in 2.5 seconds or less is deemed quick, and then after that, like the average time to throw rate for quarterbacks in the NFL right now is a shade over 2.6. Drake May's at 2.72, I think. So he's again, he's like bottom quarter of the league in terms of holding on to the football, and I think that's because of his style of play. Can he change a little bit with these changes on the offensive line?
How much difference is that from the McDaniels offense with Brady, where it seemed like Brady just chucked it as soon as he got it, and it was all, death by 1,000 cuts.
And spoiled by that, too, because his release was, and maybe I'm misremembering, but I'm with Fred, seems like he was getting rid of the ball in like a second and a half every time, on most snaps.
Oh, and there's
think of the Welker and Edelman's careers. I mean, it was all over the middle, like little chunk plays, like.
And I think that's because of who they had, right? Brady was this supercomputer processor, and so he was able to do that. But you had your Welkers, your Edelmans, your Amendolas. That's just how they had Troy Brown back in the day. That's how they had to function. My guess is if we were to look at 2007 Brady, he was holding on to the ball a little longer to let Randy Moss run down the field, and he could throw 50-yard passes for Moss to run underneath. But I do give McDaniels some credit here because even though a lot of what they have done in terms of the plays that they're calling are similar, he's allowing May to do that which he does well, which is throw the deep ball. And they have some players, whether it's Kayshon Boutte, Stephon Diggs obviously has been on the receiving end of a few of these. They have Pop Douglas, to me, is almost better down the field than he is short, even though he looks like your classic slot receiver. And so he's allowed May to be this, big play hunting kind of player where his average depth of target is near the top of the league. I'm not sure there were years where Brady, maybe outside of 2007, where Brady really had that kind of average depth of target where it's 9-10 yards down the field on a regular basis.
Okay, so how does this translate? Okay, so if you if you estimate you think Campbell and Wilson will miss like 3 to 4 games, and that not including the bye week, so 3 games in addition to the bye, is that what you're kind of estimating?
It could be, that would be a guess on my part, but my guess is it's going to be about a month.
Okay, all right. So based on the competition that you're facing, starting with the Giants, just in terms of, are these non-ideal teams to be going against with the problems like the Giants, Bills, and Ravens? As you have, obviously the Bills and Ravens are very important games because of conference record and everything else as you compete for a 1 seed, and we can get into how important the 1 seed is in a little bit. But it was starting with the Giants, they have good pass rushers. Is this like not an ideal team to be facing with this problem?
Definitely. It's really interesting. Their numbers have not been great as a pass rush unit. Their quarterback pressure rate is bottom 10 in the league somehow. And that's with Brian Burns, who's a really highly paid guy, really talented guy on the outside. Abdul Carter, who we know from this year's draft. Kayvon Thibodeau, who was mentioned in some trade talks earlier this season, but another really high-end draft pick, really talented guy. And Dexter Lawrence, who's a defensive tackle, I think kind of gets forgotten in the mix when you talk about their pass rush, but is an incredibly talented guy himself. So the numbers haven't necessarily been there, but they're all still individually very gifted. And when you're playing backups on the line, that's a real problem. I think especially, against somebody like Vidarian Lowe, who I think of as, he's got long arms. That's really kind of the 1+ trait that he has, just talking to people in the NFL that, have had to coach him before and have scouted him. And so if he gets his hands on you, he might be able to slow you down. But these guys are also long, and they're incredibly quick and bendy. And so that's what would worry me about this matchup in particular. So again, if you're McDaniels, how many plays can you call where you're rolling the quarterback right away from Vidarian Lowe? How well can you run the ball? That's the other thing that I think has really hurt them. In the times where their offense has struggled, they haven't been able to run the ball all year. And it just would be a nice thing to give Drake May a breather physically and mentally, I think. To be able to hand the ball off and understand, okay, we're going to get 4 yards here. They haven't been able to do that all year. The Giants are one of the worst run defenses in football in terms of their yards allowed rushing per game. They're actually last in the league. So maybe you can run it this week and you can protect Drake May that way and just take some of the burden off his shoulders, but they haven't been able to run all year, so I wouldn't be confident that they can do that.
I like that idea better than fundamentally changing the way Drake May releases the football and his philosophy toward the game, especially if you are conceivably going to get both these guys back or even one of them back in a month's time. You can afford a couple of losses here. Now, nobody wants it, and you don't want to give up home field if you don't have to, but it seems to me, I don't know if that's the wisest thing in the world. It's like, hey, this week we're going to be dealing with a situation over on the left side, so we're going to change the way you release the ball, and we're going to be looking for all this quick stuff underneath, and you're going to have to get rid of the ball twice as fast as you're accustomed to, and we're going to try that for a few weeks. Well, how about you just run the ball and see if you can get away with doing that and try and just tread water here for a while until these guys are back in the lineup.
The only problem is they haven't been able to run against anybody. You know what I mean?
Well, who was the team? Who was it a couple of weeks ago that was supposed to have a terrible run defense?
Well, the Bengals. The Bengals, it should have been a get-right opportunity. You've got 6 tries at the goal line, and you can't get it in. And they ended up running for, I think it was less than 4 yards per carry again. With their running backs specifically, it was less than 3 yards per carry. And a lot of that is, again, you're at the goal line and you're running for 0 yards because you're not able to get it in, and so that kills your average. But they stunk with the run game against one of the worst rush defenses, one of the worst defenses, period, that we've seen in a long time. I wonder, again, this is talking about maybe philosophical change or play style change, and maybe it's too late in the season to ask for an adjustment like this. But when the Patriots run to the outside, they're actually not terrible. And this has been off tackle, and now you're missing a tackle, and so maybe this goes out the window. But they've been top 10 in EPA and top 10 in success rate when they run outside the tackle. When they run inside the tackles, they're second to last in both those categories. Second to last in the NFL, and yet They run inside like it's going out of style. Like they love to run inside.
Is it to set up play action?
That's got to be part of it, Fred, because they just haven't been effective with it at all. And that's a big part of McDaniel's philosophy is the run looks have to be tied to the play action looks. And if we want to run play action, whether it's working or not, we're going to run the football in this kind of way. So to me, though, you might just be able to not get away from the inside run game entirely. You never should do that, no matter how bad you are. But if you're third in the NFL in terms of running it between the tackles, which the Patriots are, rush attempts-wise, they've got 171 rush attempts going inside. To be that ineffective with it, maybe cut back on a few of those, maybe give it to Travion Henderson a little bit more, let him run outside, get into space, see if you can run it a little bit more efficiently that way.
All right, Phil's going to stick around. How important is it to get the first seed in the playoffs? And if you get that first seed, who in the AFC are you worried about? These are all conversation topics that we can have with young Phil Perry from NBC Sports.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the
to spend $40.
Cough it up, and let's get back to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Studio. He covers the Patriots Giants Monday night, and then they get their bye, which is too late this year. You would agree that the bye, this is not the best time to get it.
Late buys are brutal, I think. Yeah. I mean, the early ones aren't great either, so.
Well, anything where you have like a marathon of schedule, and, it's a war of attrition at that point, like when you've played this many games, and I think you can see it in the run defense a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
That loosens up as the season gets longer, and you know.
That's my guess is part of what's going on there with the run defense, because it's been 3 weeks in a row now. They've allowed 5 yards per carry or more. It was almost 6 against the Bengals. And Chase Brown's a good running back, but it's not a great offense or a great rushing offense. And this defense has been historically good in some ways against the run through the first 9 games or so of the season. So that could be part of it, is just they're getting fatigued. The tackling has still been okay. It's just, they're not there to kind of build that wall, as Mike Vrabel likes to say, early in the play. So if you're getting there and you're getting him down, great, but it might be 5 yards beyond the line of scrimmage.
Or early in the game, which continues to be an issue.
It does. Yeah. You know what, though? It's such an odd thing. I can't remember
bizarre.
another season like this for a defense, because they're allowing points early, but the rest of the game, I mean, you look at their points allowed totals, and they're one of the best teams in the league. I know, they haven't faced like a murderer's row of offenses necessarily
normally
this year.
When you see that, I just chalk it up to like the scripted 8-10 play drive that they drill on and they focus on. But it's some fundamental stuff too that's going wrong on the Patriots' defensive side that's allowing those plays to work. And it's like, why aren't you doing that like on that first drive?
Yeah,
I know it was only 3 points against the
Right.
Bengals, so it's like, okay, if you stopped them from getting a touchdown, that's nice. But you're right, Phil. For the rest of the game, they seem to have stuff figured out.
Well, and it might be to some degree, especially long season, however many games in a row, 12 games in a row now, somewhat of just a malaise, just taking time to get into the game. But I also think there's part of it where you're facing these scripted looks from the offense. Just talking to some guys, it feels like, generally speaking, defenses may try to go like a little more vanilla in those scenarios because you're not 100% sure what you're going to get from these scripted offenses. And then once they get through that initial script, now they're getting back to their base plays and the things you've seen on tape over and over again.
Yeah.
So that's part of it, but it is still something that, I'm sure they're going to try to continue to work on, is just see if they can put a 0 up early.
Okay, how important is it for them to get the 1 seed?
It depends on what your goals are, right? I mean, if you're really hoping that they're going to make a run to the Super Bowl, it's absolutely vital. So that's how I would put it. I wouldn't care about anything else other than that if I'm the Patriots or a Patriots fan right now. And I know, this was a conversation last week. The Colts were going to play the Chiefs. Who should you be rooting for if you're a Patriots fan? Well, I think a lot of people like to see the Chiefs lose just because it's the Chiefs and they're sort of that specter of a franchise that's hovering around the things that the Patriots did in their heyday. And so you just want to see them out of the mix entirely.
Or you've just seen that movie and you don't want to see it again.
Sure. I just would look at it and say, if you were a Patriots fan last week, you should have been rooting for the Chiefs because the Colts are one of the teams that could potentially get in your way of getting that number 1 seed. And to me, it would be scarier to go to Denver, for instance, if they had the 1 seed and you had to go through Denver, than it would be to host Patrick Mahomes and the 2025 Chiefs, just because I don't think that roster right now is a championship caliber roster.
Do you think teams should want to play Denver in the playoffs? Is that the team you would want to play?
That would be the last team I would want to play, quite frankly.
Has that been your feeling all season, or when did you come to that conclusion?
Probably not all season, no. So, but they've been so good defensively of late, and they've been without one of their best players in Patrick Surtain. That, to me, might be, along with, honestly, the Texans' defense, those might be the 2 scariest phases or units on any playoff or potential playoff team in the AFC. Like, even scarier than Josh Allen's offense, scarier than Patrick Mahomes' offense. I think you would really not want to see either one of those units in the postseason.
It reminds me of other teams, and one of them is the Lions, because I've watched them a lot over the years, where you would have guys on defense. They were giving up tons of plays, big yardage plays, tons of points, but you could tell the guys are out there, they're flying around, and they're still trying to get it done. When I watched the Texans specifically, those guys are out there flying around, but they're executing in the process. That's what makes them so scary. The Denver just looks like a wall that you just can't penetrate. But the Texans defense, they're nasty. They're all over the field and they're making stops.
It's their pass rush, right? I mean, in the Broncos, their pass rush is good too. Don't get me wrong, but their pass rush is probably the best in football right now with those two guys, Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson. They're just so athletic. They're so relentless. There's a play style there that to me is really hard to beat, and it doesn't matter really if you've got your starting tackles out there or backups. God forbid you've got backups out there against those guys, but if that team gets C.J. Stroud back and he finds a rhythm, the kind of rhythm he had a couple years ago as a rookie when he was one of the best quarterbacks in the league, that suddenly becomes a scary team themselves. But if you're the Patriots, I really, you mentioned earlier, I think it was Freddie, you could afford, maybe it was you, Hardy, you could afford to lose a couple games here. This game against the Giants, I think, is one, if you really want that number one seed, I think you have to have. Because you could lose one or two, maybe even to Buffalo and Baltimore and still be in that mix. But I think Denver's good enough where they're going to be hovering right around that 12-13 win mark too, and that's going to be the team you're going to have to outpace.
Yeah, Denver's got the Commanders without Daniels this week. Then they got the Raiders, but then they have Packers, Jaguars, Chiefs, Chargers to end the season, so they don't have an easy schedule the last 4 games.
If the Patriots go to the Super Bowl, do you think this show should go to San Francisco for the week?
I do, just because I would like to be around you guys more. That would be a lot of fun for me personally, and I'm going to be
get up
out
at
there
2 in the morning to head on in.
Yeah, sure, I'd do that for you. Of course, I would do that. Everything you guys have done for me over the years, yeah.
You could just come in from the street. You could just come in.
That's right.
From a night on the town.
Where would I be? I honestly don't know San Francisco all that well. I haven't been there.
Well, if you wanted to, listen. In the middle of the night, we would be on the radio, so you could just come in whenever you want. If you needed, we could put a mattress down. You could just take
perfect.
You could go to bed at a reasonable time while we're on the air. So,
what better place to be?
It's rebooting the big mattress. That's all it is. We're
absolutely
all just hanging out.
Yeah.
Are you hoping to go, Hardy? Would you like to go?
I only like talking about it so I can get Fred's reaction. And depending on his mood or the day, the very notion of him going there is so off the table. I like.
No, I would not go out if the Patriots make the Super Bowl. I'm not going to San Francisco.
But you have to.
Nope. I literally don't have to. There's no contractual obligation to go to San Francisco to do the show.
Going.
He's got you there, Hardy.
Yeah, I'm under no obligation. All right, so the one seed's very difficult, and Denver's the team that you would not want to play. Denver and Houston are the two.
Well, no, I wouldn't say necessarily Houston just because their offense is so up and down. I would just say that defense to me is maybe one of the scariest units. But I would say it's probably Denver 1, and then it might be Kansas City 2. And I think even though Kansas City, I believe, as we sit here today, is still out of the playoff picture, right? So just speaks to the jumbled nature of this conference right now. There's not a lot of, we talked about the fear factor in the AFC and the potential matchups the Patriots might see last night on Early Edition, and there's just really not a scary team out there, quote unquote scary, top to bottom. And if you had to pick it, who would you guys say is the better team right now? Is it the Patriots or the Broncos? Because the Patriots, you could look at the numbers and say, well, that's actually the more well-balanced team. Their defense has been pretty good at keeping points off the board, not as good as Denver's, but their offense has been significantly better than Denver's in a lot of different metrics. So how does that balance out on the scales?
I would go back to what I've been thinking about the Patriots here for several weeks now, which is Denver has that one identifiable trait that makes them scary. The Patriots don't have that thing. Now, as a default, you would say Drake May. That's who you don't want to play against. You've got an entire unit out there on the field that you don't want to go up against in the Denver defense. And does that make them the better team? No. I think it makes them the scarier team, especially in a playoff game.
I think that's fair. And I think it's fair to look at Drake May and say, well, I know he might be, quote unquote, scary to prepare for, but, there's just that unknown with him. We haven't seen him do it for a full season. We certainly haven't seen him do anything in the postseason. And so I understand your reluctance to look at it the Patriots might be the better team.
Do you think they're the better team?
I think right now I would go with the great quarterback over the great defense.
Oh, yeah, and that's how I feel. If you look at how Denver has won these games, and I've watched Denver play a few times, if you look at how they win these games, it's like their offense is absent throughout the game, and Nix is terrible. And then at the last 5 minutes of the game, Nix becomes this unbelievable dual-threat quarterback. and he runs all over the place, and he has all this athleticism. And if you just watched Red Zone, like at the end of a Denver game, you go, Nix is one of the best quarterbacks in football. I mean, I've seen him do it a bunch of times, but they should have lost to the Jets. If, the Jets have any competent baseline quarterback, they kick a field goal to win that game. Garrett Wilson's wide open in field goal territory, and it's a 4th down. The ball can't get to him. There's no pressure on the quarterback. He just can't get the ball to Garrett Wilson. And so they should have a few more losses. New England should be in a stronger position if you look at how things have gone. And really, Kansas City should probably have a better record than they have right now if you look at how things have gone. And it's just the polar opposite of what they did last season. Right. So if you ask me, in New England, I like New England better in that game. But it's hard to wrap my mind around just them being the best team in the AFC. Like, it's all biased based on my expectations going into the season. And that's why I don't feel like my opinion on this matter is necessarily relevant, because it's so based on your roster. Like, the Patriots roster just isn't very good. But they have a phenomenal coach, and they look like they have a phenomenal quarterback, and that makes up for so much. And how much of that, though, in a playoff situation? This isn't the Brady years, right? Where, like, you're just the divisional round is a conversation. Like, my birthday's around the divisional round, and I would feel fine going out to dinner because they'd always have a garbage game on Saturday night because it was a throwaway game where they were going to win by 3 touchdowns. And I felt confident, like, I could go out to dinner. And, like, as long as it's on in the background, I can catch up tomorrow. Like, this isn't, like, I'm not invested in this. Like, I'm fairly confident how this is going to go.
That was good logic by you, yeah.
Yeah, there's no, let's put it this way, there's no one in the AFC team in the AFC playoffs where you have them at home or on the road where I'm like, that's a layup.
No.
Yeah, so it's...
But on the flip side of that, you could
nothing
also
where I'm like, you're going to get crushed.
Picture, right, where it's I could see this being a game, or I could see them winning.
Look, you beat Buffalo. Buffalo's very flawed. They're picking up street free agents in week, 12. I mean, that's not a good thing. You got Kansas City, who I would think would beat you, but they're obviously, that's not a guarantee. Denver and Indianapolis are flawed and unproven. You have a better quarterback by far than both of those teams. So, yeah, I can do it either way. I could also see the Chargers sneaking in the playoffs and beating you. So, there's a bunch of stuff. It's a fascinating season. Like, last Sunday was the first Sunday where the 1 o'clock games, because I'm a fan of a terrible team, the 1 o'clock games, I was like, oh. And I had, many screens going on at the same time. And it just so happened that Lions game was a ridiculous game. And that's the team that you got to play. And if you get Jameis Winston when he's on, that's they love Jameis Winston. Everyone does. They rally around him. That's a team that's going to be trying on Monday night. And he could throw 6 picks, or he could do what he did against the Lions and just be just on fire.
Insane. He completed 50% of his passes and still threw for almost 400 yards.
Yeah, and he, catching passes. He run. He's huge. He's stiff arming guys. Like, he is not a throwaway backup Chase Daniel type quarterback. I mean, if he's on, he's a formidable guy.
And Jackson Dart might be back, right? He could be back.
I'd almost wish to play Dart than I would Winston.
Almost prefer that.
Just because it's a roll of the dice with Winston. You could get, if he's on like he was against the Lions, and look, the Lions are flawed defensively, obviously, but if he's on like that, that's a whole situation. Dart, I'm confident Vrabel can confuse Dart. And he runs so much, right? Like, he's so dependent on his legs. I think I could convince myself of a lot of things. Look, it's a great season. It's a gift that I didn't think that we were going to get. And it's going to be fascinating. Truly fascinating. I'm not sarcastically fascinating to see how this all works itself out, because at the beginning of the season, most people, not all of us, but most people would not have thought the Broncos would have been in this position. Some of us saw it very early. Some of the smartest people saw it very early.
Some say
the smartest. Saw that early. But Indianapolis, I mean, who the hell thought Indianapolis was going to – who thought Daniel Jones was going to get a big deal at the end of this year? Which, buyer beware. Mm-hmm. And, it's all a mishmash. And I don't think Baltimore's
the NFL's
very
dream,
good.
isn't it? Just the level of parity. This is boy.
And by the way, unless Lamar Jackson gets his leg right, I think the Patriots are better than the Ravens. So I think they're better than the Ravens. Like, I don't think the Patriots are necessarily better than the Chiefs. I think they're better than the Ravens.
Right now, I would say they are too.
Yeah. I mean, Lamar Jackson does not look right. He's hurt. So,
but they've racked up so many wins. I think people are starting to think, well, it's the old Ravens. The old Ravens are back, and they just don't look that way.
They're just a well-coached team with a great culture, and they're not going to lose against teams. Like, his record against teams where they're like a big favorite is ridiculous. Harbaugh's record against that. It's like a ludicrous winning, like a 950 winning percentage or something, because they were doing it after that game. So, the good teams have good luck. Kaboom. Leave you with that.
Mic drop.
Take that into Thanksgiving. All right. Have a fantastic Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, guys.
And we will talk to you when we come back. And we have one more break, and then we are gone for a glorious 4 days. Oh. Some of us traveling to the Midwest. And that is really the dream. That's why you do it. You go with your ex-wife and kids to the Midwest.
That's the carrot that you dangle in front of yourself all year long.
You're going to be divorced for 3 years. You and your ex-wife and the kids are going to head out. That's the dream. All right. Thank you, Phil. We'll be back. Here are the headlines.
Essential Sport.
Stack Monster. Ready?
It's time for The Stack on Toucher and Hardy.
All right, The Stack is brought to you by New England's largest Volkswagen dealer group at colonialvw.com. Located in Medford, Wellesley, and Westboro. Come see the amazing finance and lease offers during VW's winter deal days. Yes, you can have it all at Colonial. We got a very nice email from Ben.
The Thanksgiving email.
Says, gents, what a great time of year where we all reflect on the things we're thankful for. Here's a list of what I'm thankful for. This show, Wallach taking time off, Wallach not stepping on jokes, Wallach not hearing out of one ear, Wallach's lacking powers of deduction, Wallach's oh-so-tasty shrimp scampi with extra twigs, his love for big old butt cheeks, his elongated beak, Adam 12's crappy attempted headlines.
Oh.
Not that Bill Murray, yuck. I don't understand. I haven't been listening to his headlines. I'm actually thankful for this show. It's a great way to start the day, and anything that can make you laugh out loud and stimulate the sports brain is a great use of time. Happy Thanksgiving. Well, happy Thanksgiving to you, Ben.
Thank you,
a nice
Benjamin.
email, Ben.
Cheers.
That's not Benjamin.
Oh,
that's not Benjamin.
Oh, right.
That's Benjamin is the guy from the Worcester baseball team.
Yes, Woo Sox.
Where I gave my thorough analysis in the 6 o'clock hour of the Sonny Gray trade, which I'd approved of, but for both teams.
Yeah, it's a win-win.
And I gave you my analysis as I saw Sonny Gray up close in spring training. And I will say it again because I look forward to the emails. He was throwing 88 miles an hour. No, he wasn't throwing 88 miles an hour. The baseball reference says he was throwing 88 miles an hour. It was his final start of spring training. But Fred, you're an idiot. No. I was there. I saw, and I went, ooh, he's not throwing very hard. And I looked, and the people kill his fastball, which he does not throw often because I would imagine an 89, 90 mile an hour fastball, unless it's moving an incredible amount, is fairly easy for a major league player to hit. But he's adapted a cutter into his repertoire.
He's a crafty veteran. John
a lot
Burke,
of ground balls. He strikes
Paul
people
Bird.
out despite his lack of velocity.
Yeah.
He's a professional pitcher and a durable durable 36-year-old, and will be a solid number 2 starter. I would start him in a playoff game.
Solid number 2.
Yeah, he's not like a mind-blowing, like you don't have this like crazy-ass 1-2 punch, but he should pitch this season, be available in the playoffs, and I would take him starting a second game.
And a veteran presence for the young pitchers coming up.
Look, man, if the Dodgers could trade for Skubal.
No, you look, man.
Look, man. Look, hey, Jack. Let me lay it down for you.
You're talking a blue streak now, Jack.
You're talking a blue streak now, Jack. What's that from?
It's John Lovitz.
Yeah, that's funny. But I will tell you that, look, if the Dodgers, who have the minor league talent to trade for, and major league talent to trade for Skubal, which could happen, and enjoy baseball, ladies and gentlemen, if that happens, because short of a explosion, the Dodgers will coast.
No.
They might win 145 games unless they get bored. So just have fun with that.
Multiple messages from Dave, who emailed yesterday. Are you guys aware that Tangway is in a pivotal scene of the penultimate episode of the best show in television right now? Tangway going bar for bar with Tim Robinson and Lake Bell. No biggie. We need more Tangway. All I ask is you take 10 minutes of Bert Breer's time every week and give them to Tanger.
Yeah.
I tried.
Look at it. I've been sitting on chairs. Robinson, pay attention to me. Look, it's a chair. All right. Look, I'm an author. I'll punch up the script for you. So what, you got some chair company. Mayhem ensues, I guess, right? You're a real ball of fire. All right, here I go. Chick with big cans comes in. Your eyes are popping out of your head. You can't pay attention to anything. The chair companies, they're asking you to cook the books, and you're like, what's going on? I see 2 big bulbous boobies. You're distracted, and just do whatever you want with the comedy. Jerry Lewis, hardly working, I'm thinking.
I'll tell you what, I'm 3 episodes in. It's on my list of things to do this weekend.
Robinson, I don't want to tell you how to do your job, but how about a spit take here? Take you back to how about a laugh break? I know it's scripted, but let's have you break. Like you can't, like I say something that's so funny you can't contain yourself, right?
And leave it in. Leave it in.
Yeah, leave it in, like a little Easter egg. Is this going to be like a Cannonball Run situation where during the end credits we're going to have a little B-roll?
Blooper reel.
Because if you're asking me to improv, I can. Throw a line at me. I'll throw it back at you. Come on. Robinson, play along.
Boy, what's wrong with this chair?
I'll tell you what, I broke a chair. I saw this fatso break a chair. He was so fat and he sat in it and broke it, right? You should have picture it in your head. You'll laugh. Right? How about physical comedy is what the kids want. How about I slip on a banana peel headfirst into a chair, knock myself out. Next thing I know, I'm getting mouth-to-mouth from some hunk. What a second, I'm gay? Anyway, it's something to play with. I'll leave that for you over the long weekend.
I'll just leave this
Enjoy
here.
your weekend.
I'll just leave this here. Right? That's what the kids say. All
Gobble,
right.
gobble, gobble. This is
I'm off to Detroit, Michigan. Hardy's off to Marblehead or wherever the hell he's going.
Yeah.
That'll do it for us. Everyone, enjoy your Thanksgiving.
wear your seatbelt.
And for God's sakes, wear your effing seatbelt, would you? All right.